Welcome to the regular council meeting of September 17th, 2025. We're going to open this meeting at 6:01. And the town of Diamond Valley acknowledges the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7, including the Blackfoot Confederacy, members Siksika, Kainai, Kainai First Nations, the Stonium, Nakota, Chiniki, Wesley, and Goodstoney First Nations, and Region Métis 3 of Alberta First Nations, as well as the Dene of Tsuut'ina Nation. We have a consent agenda for adoption. Council have anything they want to pull from that to throw into the regular meeting?
Bulk water.
Bulk water, which is, where are we? Which one is that? Just looking.
It's page 33. I didn't.
Okay, so bulk water,
Yeah.
stick it in the 7.8. 7.8 will be fine. And Heather?
I'd like to hold the full 2.1 the
Big River Financial
library.
Library Financials?
Yeah.
All right, so library financials. We're gonna call that 7.9. Right? Motion as amended, please.
For you, sir.
Brennan, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Hazel?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Sounds good. All right, question period, or sorry, regular agenda. Amended, Jonathan? Good. All in favor? Oh, wait.
Sorry, worship,
Yeah.
just wondering if we could actually move bulk water library financials up quicker, just so two staff don't have to stay here till the end.
Put it right at the front.
Sure. I got fee waive requests.
Front of 7.01, 7.02.
Sure, why not? 7.01, 7.02. You only did that because there was room to write it on that sheet versus crushing it in over here. I get it. All right. 7.8. All right. Jonathan, as amended?
Yeah.
All in favor? Thank you. It's carried. Question period is a 15-minute section of time dedicated to the public to ask questions of council or administration for points of clarity, general inquiry, anything you wish. You can phone, write, email, text, Facebook, post it, put it on that sheet over on the wall, email Verna, email CAO, email council. You can speak in front of us. Just got to fill out that pre-proof. Have we received anything online?
We did not, your worship.
All right, seeing none, we will move on. 4.1 statutory hearings, bylaw 2025-119 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06 to add 2 districts and bylaw 2025-120. Now, are we doing these one at a time or are we crushing them both together? Crush both together. Okay. Bylaw 2025-120 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06, redesignate Colts Crossing Phase 1 lands. Now, would we like to pause on that and move on in the agenda and come back when our delegates representing Colts arrive? Fine by me. If it's fine by council, we can knock off a few of these items down below.
Are we expecting them?
Other stuff in traffic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other texts on ETAs?
They said about 10 minutes. If you'd like, I can give my staff presentation.
Sounds good.
That's small.
Yeah, let's do that. Sure. All right. Let me click over to my public hearing script here. All right. Great for the public hearing, yeah? We're good? Bernie? Okay.
You bet.
I hereby declare the public hearing for bylaw 2025-119 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06 to add 2 districts and bylaw 2025-120 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06 to redesignate Colts Crossing Phase 1 lands open 6:06 p.m. Public hearings are held pursuant to section 216.4 of the Municipal Government Act to hear representations from the public on proposed bylaws. I'm Mayor Barry Crane, and I will be the chair for this evening's hearing. All discussions or questions, whether by council members, administration, or speakers, must be directed through the chair and myself. This hearing will be carried out in an orderly fashion. Please respect the views of everyone here and allow each person their time to speak without interruption. Each person wishing to speak will be given up to 5 minutes to do so. To make a presentation to council. Following any presentation, council may ask questions, so please remain at the forefront if indeed you are there. Council will not debate this matter during the hearing. The decision regarding whether to grant the bylaws further readings will be dealt with later in the agenda or at a subsequent meeting if deemed necessary. Mr. Davey, as per the MGA, can you confirm that notification for the public hearing was provided in accordance with the act?
Confirmed.
All right, Ms. Florzo, you may present your staff report, and council, please jot down your questions or concerns or questioning after. Floor is yours.
Thank you. We opted to bring bylaws 2025-119 and 2025-120 together since they affect the same lands, and often questions or information from one can apply to the other. So starting with 119, that is the addition of the new district to the Black Diamond land use bylaw. Its purpose is to provide a district primarily for single detached housing, semi-detached duplexes, and attached housing. The district was templated on the existing districts available in the land use bylaw and includes lot options that are more narrow than R1 that are sought to accommodate more affordable housing options, which was one of the main concerns provided during public engagement, and also to add additional flexibility within the district to respond to the market. If adopted, this district is a regular district in the land use bylaw and would be open to any future applicant within the boundary of the former town of Black Diamond, which is governed under land use bylaw 2021-06. Bylaw 119 does not have the effect of redesignating any property. The proposed application complies with the policies and requirements of the MDP. Specifically, it speaks to a goal of the MDP being to provide and maintain a variety of housing types in order to accommodate current and future residents. The bylaw was advertised in the Western Wheel and no comments were received. Should be mentioned that there is a typo in section 4C where lane list should read lane sites. Moving on over to, we're gonna do 120. That'll bring that up. 120 is a redistricting bylaw, so a land use bylaw amendment to redesignate lands within phase 1 of what is referred to as the Coles Crossing Area Structure Plan lands, which is proposed under bylaw 2025-118. Noting that 2025-118 has not yet been given third reading by council. So at this time, a redesignation of those lands would be putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, and is not supported by administration until the ASP is actually adopted. Which also follows the current municipal development plan that requires an area structure plan to be in place, and any subdivision, servicing, or discretionary development of areas within the Coles Crossing land is prohibited without an approved area structure plan. The existing land use for the site is agricultural, and the lands will be redesignated to something at some point for development. Any lot conformance will be confirmed during future subdivision. And it was circulated and no comments for or against have been received. At this time, should council wish to move forward with the district, that is completely within your power. It's not fully dependent on the Coles Crossing ASP moving forward. However, council may want to weigh the merits and drawbacks of adding an additional district prior to that application moving forward, whereas administration will be recommending postponement of the redesignation until the ASP is actually adopted. But because of all of the fun timing of things, here we are tonight.
So bylaw 2025-118.
119.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at, if you scroll up there. Recommendation that needs to be adopted before we move further into these.
Bylaw,
Yeah, sorry.
yes, sorry.
Not to debate, but
Yes, so
You
for
want clarity
so
on
for
it.
clarification, bylaw 118 is the Colts Crossing area structure plan, which has not been given second or third reading by council. To redesignate the land under 120 prior to that adoption would contravene the MDP.
straightforward. Okay, so 120 is a contravention.
It-
119,
Yes, so 120 isn't in contravention, it just should be postponed until such a time the decision is made on the 18th, whereas 119 could possibly be adopted. It's just adding a new district into the bylaw as an option for anybody to apply for as a redesignation.
yes, Hazel, please.
May I ask a question on the creating of a new R2 district? Would it be possible to maintain the existing R1N and R3 districts to achieve the same objectives?
Through the mayor, if I'm understanding your question correctly for clarification, the existing districts in the land use bylaw were not, the requirements of those districts didn't meet the requirements that the developer was looking for moving forward with this project, and thus they came in with a proposed new district.
Okay, okay. That sounds good. Thank you, Carrie.
Cindy.
This is the right time to ask or not, but most of the former Black Diamond land use, all the districts have minimum house, like your gross floor area. But I'm not seeing it in this document saying, you know, what size of houses should be in that district. So I know in the Turner Valley land use bylaw, we have just a blanket one that applies to all residential areas, but Black Diamond land use bylaw is a little more, I don't know, it's a hard one for me to read for some reason. But yeah, each district specifically lays it out. So this particular R 2M or whatever it is, it doesn't lay it out. So wondering why, or if that's just an error, if there, yeah, if there's guidance elsewhere in the document that I'm working.
Yeah, so through the mayor, I'd say that best practice in industry would be to be moving away from those kind of regulations. Minimum floor area is often not a great tool if we're trying to come up with more affordable and more flexible options. And so what I'd say that I see is, moving away from these minimums that create more homogeneous communities and potentially price people out of certain areas of our community, and allowing for additional flexibility so that maybe there can be a diversity of housing types within a community that would allow a variety of people to call it a place their home.
Jonathan, please.
Fairly similar to Councillor Holiday's question. The way it's written, you have a minimum or a maximum site width of, let's say, just use single detached, right? So 7.65 meters, roughly 25 feet, give or take. Then you have a maximum site coverage. So total of principal and accessory buildings would be 60%. So do we know yet what the proposed R2M, how deep those lots would be? Because then we could calculate what kind of site coverage is required by that principal building. Because my concern with that is we don't have a minimal or a minimum on that property. So the way it's written, without having a minimum, we could end up, if somebody wanted, bring in a tiny home.
Through the mayor, so there is a minimum site area and a minimum width. So if you divide those, that would give you your minimum.
What page is the minimum site area?
The minimum site area is 4A.
Oh, I see it there, sorry.
Cindy?
Okay, I also had a question about the tandem parking, because that's kind of a different idea that you're allowed 2 stalls, but they can be tandem. Is that allowed elsewhere? I didn't have time to go through that. And does that actually work? Because we know that everybody complains about parking. So, and everybody seems to have like, well, I don't know how many vehicles we have parked out our side, our place, but everyone has lots out here, it feels like. So,
Yeah, so through the mayor, tandem parking is considered a viable option in most residential calculations at this point. So if you have a 2-car garage with your driveway, you have 4 parking spaces. The only time where it's not considered as a counted parking spot is in regards to a suite. So if you were required to have, which isn't our case, let's say you were required to have 2 parking spaces for your primary dwelling, and then you have a home off that needs 1 parking space, and then you have a suite that needs 1 space. You could count the tandem in your 1 in the double car garage, 1 behind, 1 on the driveway, and then if you have a lane, maybe 1 on the lane. But you couldn't count those secondary tandems because they would be reliant on independent parties. So you can have tandem for the single detached, but then the other 2 wouldn't be allowed to be tandem. So we do look at in that context when we're doing our development permits in these situations.
Okay,
just,
I know.
yeah, just going, can I?
Yeah,
follow up? That not having a minimum, I get what you're saying, but we feel like our experiment with the R1Ns and ending up, we reduced the gross floor area that was required. And from a council perspective, what happens is you get smaller ones, which less tax base is the honest, you collect less money if you build smaller stuff. Basically, if we have limited water, you might argue that we want more expensive housing, therefore larger housing, to, be users of the limited water supply that we have in town. So I get the affordability question, but from a tax base question, the bigger it gets built, the better for the bottom line of the town. So I don't know if that's how you reconcile that with planning practices, because I get it that some people don't need as large of houses, but I do worry about too small of stuff being built, and just losing out on the tax revenue.
No comment.
Sorry, I was just looking for the question.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah,
question.
yeah, more of a statement.
But I don't know how planners reconcile the need for the bottom line of the municipality to be as healthy as possible with what people actually need
Yeah.
to live in this world.
I can actually comment on that if you'd like.
Sure.
So part of that has to do, again, with that site width. So site width is hugely tied to expense for the municipality because of infrastructure. You have your curb, gutter, asphalt, sub, sewer, water, utilities, like all your infrastructure for the house is linear in front of your house. And so when we have those smaller homes, as you referred to, they actually reduce the infrastructure costs. So proportionally, your taxes are lower, yes, but in comparison to the infrastructure that you're actually using, it might actually be higher. So you might actually be getting a far better ROI on a smaller property to pay for the infrastructure that serves it.
And just clarify.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not, I get the reason for the smaller lot sizes, but if you put small houses, like Councilor Gordon referred to, tiny houses on, not even maximizing the size that you could get on those smaller lots hurts our bottom line. So I'm not arguing the lot size, I'm arguing the house size that goes on that lot. And the assessed value associated with that. The higher the assessed value, the better for the town.
Oh, your B drives that.
Well, no, that, we're not, with this new district, there is no minimum. Like, I know with the R1Ns, it was 400, I believe, square foot.
So I think we're getting into debate now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna save that for when we get there.
This is done, this, yeah. So a question I do have related to the density, with the RM2, what would be the potential density we'd be looking at? Do we have a calculation on that yet?
So, through the mayor, because the R2M has a lot of minimum requirements, there's some flexibility to make sites that are larger. Thus, anything that came in under that district that met the requirements would basically get a check mark and pass. So it's hard to give what the density would be without knowing the exact configuration of those lots. There will be a minimum density requirement for Coles Crossing, presumably under the new municipal development plan. We're coming back with council direction to reduce that to 20 units per hectare as per the September 10th meeting. So anything that moves forward from that point, specific to Coles Crossing, would have that density requirement.
So if I may, with a follow-up, done a bit of research since September 10th meeting. Would it be wise for us to consider putting density in the land use bylaw? I'm following the city of Calgary's model.
Through the mayor, there's the option to do that. You actually have density requirements in other districts within town already. So it's not unheard of by any means.
Yeah, because the city of Calgary has basically 6 land use areas in their MDP. Only 2 identify density, but when you go into the land use bylaw, it's very specific per district, per zone, as to how they do it. For instance, their RM2, if you have the maximum density for a parcel designated residential low density, they actually have 50 units per hectare for row house buildings, 50 units per hectare for townhouses. So that's pretty intense density. And their minimums are very similar to what we see proposed tonight in this R2M. So I'm just wondering if that would be a route we should go
That'd be pretty.
potentially. Yeah. I just wanted to get perspective here.
You're done presentation? Good.
Sir?
Any further questions for Claire? No, sir. Okay. Hazel, anything? Thank you. All right, Mr. Davy, thank you, Carrie. Mr. Davy, has the town received any written submissions that are not included in the staff report? If so, I would have them in front of me so I could read them aloud. Have you received any?
We have not, your worship.
Ready? Presentations, persons addressing council should come up to the hot seat, as we call it, state your name and address, indicate if you are speaking on behalf of yourself, on behalf of a client, company, yep, come on up, yep. Group of citizens, i.e. organization. You may state how you are affected by the bylaw. Council may ask questions, so please remain. Administration, has anyone registered to speak in favor of bylaws?
We've not.
Yeah, Mark, right here, yeah. Registered, we know you're here. Excellent. That being the case, I'm gonna give you guys the floor.
The presentation we have is the land, one of the land use in the title. Yeah, muted mic.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, probably okay. Can everyone hear me back there? Okay. Yeah, thanks for having us tonight, Mayor and Council. You might remember I'm Alison Timmons, in planner at Quantum Place, and Jessica. Jessica Carpine. We're here representing the applicant for this file. Next slide, please. So just as a reminder, the applications, the 2 land use applications here before you, this presentation is on both. I'm not sure if we're just speaking to, okay, perfect. The 2 that are before you are to envision phase 1 of the Coles Crossing ESP. Just gonna give a brief overview because I know that's a different topic, but basically the applications help to foster the community vision, focused on preserving rich history and small town ambiance of Diamond Valley. Next slide, please. overall concept that includes streetscapes designed to encourage vehicle and pedestrian connection, interconnected parks and pathways, and a future school site. That's in phase 2. Next slide, please. So we prepared and worked with technical experts to prepare a variety of supporting documents. These also support the phase 1 land use applications. Specifically, preliminary servicing report identifies general locations of utilities for phase 1 and future ASP phases. And the Black Diamond visioning document identifies a vision for proposed parks and open spaces for each phase of the ASP. Next slide, please. So the intent of both of these applications today is to allow for a redesignation of phase 1 of the proposed ASP to allow for residential. So this is the R2M district we were discussing, service commercial in the north there, and public service district. So a park and interconnected pathways. Next slide, please. So the first application is actually to create the new land use, the R2M, that you were discussing earlier. A new land use is required to accommodate the vision. The existing land use districts in the Black Diamond land use bylaw don't allow lots narrow enough to accommodate both the density and vision in the draft MDP. So that would be the 20 units per acre or hectare, as well as required to provide more affordable housing products. So when we did the engagement for the ASP, we did hear that there was desire for more affordable housing products and a greater variety of housing typologies. So you can see here the proposed new district would allow for single detached, semi-detached houses and row houses as well. Next slide, please. The second application, presuming that the R2M district gets adopted, would actually rezone the lands themselves from the current agricultural designation to service commercial public service district and the R2M. So the R2M district would need to be adopted before second application.
Just for clarity, because sometimes when you look at the maps, that's actually sliced off half the border section to the east. That is not, it's not bordering over onto, exactly. Just to make that clear.
Great.
When you look at that, you kind of go, oh, that's, no, it's not, that's the small.
Yes, correct. So that's about half-ish of the northern border section that borders the Kaiser ASP lands, not Portuguese.
Okay.
Next slide, please. So we had some questions about density earlier. Hopefully this may answer some of your questions. So we've heard that latest amendment to the density, the minimum density in the proposed MDP is 20 units per hectare. So we did a quick little sketch of what that might look like on phase 1. Previous versions of this looked at 15 UPH, so it's not a huge change for us compared to some of the other discussions we were having earlier, but units could be around 480 units, around 1,100 people, and that would be a 50-50 split between single and semi-detached and townhouses. So this is what it looked like. So we do feel comfortable that this would accommodate the minimum density proposed in the MDP. Next slide, please. The proposed ASP has a variety of policies that deal with subsequent land use applications. So I just wanted to point to a couple of them, specifically 3.17 requires a vision for proposed parks of open space be prepared at each land use amendment application. So when I mentioned earlier the supporting documents, there was a vision document that was put together that envisioned potential parks and open space programming through each phase of Holt's Crossing. And so we do have a vision for phase 1 that we'll get into. And then the other one, that was the main one, but applications for land use and subdivision must also provide supporting documentation as outlined in Appendix C. Appendix C is the ASP. It just identifies some of the technical reports that should accompany an application for land use. So most of the supporting reports that we submitted for this application are the same as for the ASP because they went into further detail specifically for phase 1. Next slide, please. So we're looking at the park vision for phase 1. The statement is that the parks and Folks Crossing will offer vibrancy to the community residents that will one day visit them. With exciting programming and strong connectivity to nature, the park spaces will be dynamic community gathering spaces, that stimulate local activity. And you can see there's a variety of potential options of what could be located in that central kind of park area around the storm pond proposed. So picnic tables, barbecue spaces, pavilion, stormwater pond lookout, planted space overlooking stormwater pond, and wayfinding type signage. Next slide, please. In terms of implementation, should these land use applications go through today, the next step would be subdivision and detailed design for phase 1. Any future phase of Folks Crossing, and again, also should the ASP be adopted, would require a land use amendment and then a subdivision and detailed design application. Every single phase, once you got the future urban development area, you would actually have to amend the ASP first before even getting to use. Next slide, please. And this is just an overview of the kind of the community engagement we've done today on both the ASP and land use. So there are a variety of engagements done since 2022. So we put together an engagement plan, an autonomous survey, concept plan shared with stakeholders, revised concept plan shared to the public and in-person open house, fully heard report, regularly updating the webpage, responding to emails or phone calls that we get. We've also kind of presented an overview of the land use in the previous 2 public hearings with ASPs in May and in July. Next slide, please. And I just wanted to emphasize that the purpose of this application, especially the proposed R2M district, is really to help align with the vision of the ASP that was informed by the NPP. Exactly. Yeah. So really, the R2M helps to facilitate housing diversity and density. So that increased density that you're looking for in the proposed NPP, as well as different housing forms offered to people who want to live here. Open space and recreational amenities, we need to facilitate that land use in order to facilitate this, as well as employment opportunities. There's the surface commercial space proposed in the north, and so this is how we are aligning all of these things. Next slide, please. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the comments, positive comments we got from engagement, specifically. We need affordable housing, things like that. So that's what we're asking for today, and just wanted to thank you for your time and any questions.
Thank you. Council, question for clarity. So really, we can't form the point properly yet, so I'm hoping you guys have something to throw out, get my brain kicking. And
That's Carrie, I'll ask it to you. Why did you not include a minimum gross floor area, minimum size for buildings being built?
You want to say it? So I was contemplating the question. Sorry, thank you, Councilor Helmsley. I was contemplating the question while you were asking it to Carrie. I thought it was a really good question. The reason why there isn't a minimum size is because once we create a lot, say a townhome is then redivided into a lot and size needs to be. We can go to a, say, like a 15-foot front for a townhome. And if we insert a minimum lot size, then we potentially are getting it wrong and then run up against that area. A lot of the times when we're working with districts that are kind of working on the spectrum of what I would call grade-oriented housing, which all have access to the street, just grade-oriented housing. Those minimum lot size span or minimum house size span a lot of variety. They could be, 1 levels, they could be, they could be 3 levels, they could be a number of different things. And when we were looking at, when Carrie and I sat down and talked about this district, we were really looking at trying to maximize the variety of housing that could be provided in the town. And that also included a vision of doing
fee simple type townhomes that could be offered to those in the town. And knowing exactly what that size would be is just difficult to estimate at this time. And so we mimicked different bylaws that didn't have minimum house sizes, but looked at how to regulate that district differently. And then I also contemplated how I would answer the linear foot question. Carrie was absolutely correct on, on her answer where she was saying that the ROI is just different. So say you had a single family home on 50 feet. That single family home, what is the average house of the dwelling in Turner Valley?
Yeah, I'm not concerned about lot
Yeah.
size. I am only concerned previously, about a year or two ago, we allowed an R1 district and allowed 400 square foot houses on it. And the things that we've been seeing built to date haven't been what we wanted. So we are worried about having, I'm worried about having no minimum and products being built that are very small and don't maximize the tax value for us as a town.
Well, there's other things that would prevent a 400 square foot footprint dwelling. And I will,
Yeah, I'm
Look
just
at
wondering with the minimum, if there's minimums that would protect us or not. I just want to protect the town because we want nice stuff built, right? If you've got a lot, we want. We're not trying to cram in.
so we do have minimum site areas by development form,
Minimum lot size, set size.
This site here.
site area.
Yeah, so your lot
Yeah,
size.
it's
our
the
minimum-
lot size.
Yeah, and it's about 117 square feet, if I do my calculations right, for the smallest one.
But then it
Yeah.
says 185 meters squared for each dwelling unit. And then it says 160 meters squared for each dwelling unit for row homes.
Yeah,
So there are
that's a
minimum size
A lot.
for each unit.
Per lot, but that doesn't do anything for the house size. You could build, we have minimums for secondary suites in town, 300 or so feet. So I would hope that a developer would like to come in and build larger stuff because they make more money, but we still need some protection, I think.
Through the chair, I believe the protection is. We would have, I can't foresee a 400 square meter home. 400 square
Yeah,
foot home.
it's a
Um,
bachelor suite in an apartment building in downtown Calgary, you would expect. Size, not a.
yeah,
Take
I agree. It's not contextual, nor would it be supported by the market, I would think. But, if you wanted to put, there is a minimum, if you wanted to put a minimum site coverage for the dwelling, I think that would do it.
Yeah.
And then that way would give us a little bit flexibility, and I could maybe put some thought into that.
Want to get to the big. I'll just make a note of it.
Situation,
I'll just put it in.
but it's the reality that we've experienced over the last few months. And we've had a lot of pushback.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Cindy.
No, I'll save it for the meeting.
Hazel, any questions?
No, Mayor Crane.
It's kind of hard because right now we have them at the table to ask questions. And when we get into debate, I don't want to be going into the audience to ask those same questions.
No, it's a challenge, right?
Yes, okay.
Your worship,
Mhm.
suggest if you have questions, maybe just ask them now.
We just have to tell us not to date it.
Yeah, no, let's gather the information on clarity. So, okay, so let's go to this contravention of 120. As in 2025, 120. Being in contravention of the adoption of 25, 118. So we can't necessarily adopt 120, the land use bylaw redesignation, before we've adopted 118 Coles Crossing, ASP. So 19, I'm fine, but well, just speak for myself, but I'm fine moving ahead on that because it makes sense. Because we're asking you to adopt and hit the moving target of our MDP. That's what you've done. Excellent, right? But how we get around the contravention of 120 to 118 might not be solvable at this meeting. And if that's the answer, that's fine, but that's the reality that we're living in right now is we can't adopt that before we adopt this, then it can come back in, but we can't give it second or first. We've already got the public hearing. So that's what I'm asking for clarity on how this system is gonna play out, so we don't screw it up and then end up having to do it all over again and then look like idiots. That's what I don't want. So I will take any offerings of,
There are many ways you can do that. You can close the public hearing on one. Hear the other public hearing, or you could even just table the public hearing on the first one. Sorry, I'm gonna get the numbers wrong.
yeah,
119.
119, yeah.
You could table on 119. Hear the public hearing on 120.
We're doing both together.
But
We're in the midst of both of them right now.
so you could table the public hearing and then call the decision first on 120.
Mary?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In further in the agenda package is the readings of the bylaws, though we're still at public hearing. If you ask the questions and got the information you need for 119 and 20, close it. If you haven't, leave it open. And then your decision points on the bylaws will be in the bylaws section further in the agenda.
Definitely the application.
Yeah.
So it's. You're focusing.
Yeah. This is good for you. It's very nice. For all of it.
Right. I think we got it. We'll get it figured here. It does. I just want to make sure that we're not
Oh, you're asking the right questions.
scooping it up and then screwing it up. And then we're gonna be back where we started when we did this about a year ago. We jumped the gun and we had to throw everything out and do it all again. Not even a year ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah, but how they have it in agenda is right, that they ASP
Yeah,
it first,
So we're gonna roll.
and then the other ones, so I think.
Okay, let's just follow the agenda and roll through each one of them. Okay. We'll get there. All right, sounds good. Any further questions for the applicants? All right. Thank you, ladies. Let's move on to the applicant presentation. I will now ask if there's any person, either online or in person, who wishes to address any new information provided at this hearing. Council may also have further questions for any speakers. So does any other person in the audience or online want to speak in favor of the bylaws and wish to address any new information?
So does that mean we can speak or we have to go
If
through
you're
the
in
process?
favor, now's your time to speak. Next one's gonna be both.
Okay,
Okay, so anybody in favor, online or in the audience? Seeing none. Does any person opposing the bylaws wish to address any new information they've heard? Please come up to the center seat, state your name and address and your position. See you.
Altamillas, 436 First Avenue Southeast. I'm not opposed, but I'm concerned about the confidence in what sounds very much like high density or the confusion on the size of the lots and the houses. So I would, yeah, I guess some clarity there and hoping that maybe slow down, and get that figured out and have a solid understanding. Because I think density is one of the biggest concerns for the town, and I think for you guys as well, so that's my concern.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
speaking. Anyone else wishing to speak against the proposed bylaw? Now is the time to do so. Just take a seat. State your name. No. No, okay. All right. Anyone online?
Maybe.
Oh, she's on.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I knew I could talk to her. Anyone who sits in this room, I'm gonna get a word out of you. You've gone through the trouble of coming and say your piece, right?
I don't know if it's new information, but Linda Delaretto, 525 Diamond Crescent. So this proposed lot is directly behind our neighborhood. I guess, again, the density is huge. And my concern, is I understand that this whole piece of land has been, designated as it's gonna be put under construction at some point. I understand that, and that's how things happen. But is it 4th Street that accesses this? Or 4th Ave, I should know. I wanna know, that there has been thought put into the whole picture. I also feel like this is being pushed through and rushed through. Meetings held in the summer when I was around. And I just want to make sure that what is being built is going to be a permanent thing, affect us for many, many years and our kids and, the water situation, the road going in and out of there, how the county's involved in this, that whole Highway 7, that road being closed, like this is huge changes and I don't want it to just be, okay, let's go through the motions and it's a big, anyways, that's, I have concerns. I know a lot of people have concerns and I wish a lot of people would here. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Just have a seat, relax. Go ahead, Heather. You want to come?
Yeah, I think that we've all heard the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again through this process. And this process has been much longer than this summer.
No, I realize that.
Yeah, so, and I think that this council's been very thoughtful and did change density in the municipal development plan at our last council meeting.
Right.
So I think we're going in the right direction.
Great.
This council eye is on water. It absolutely is. And as you know, it's the infills and everything that we're focusing on. And everybody's gonna have to go through the whole process. And then at some point, there may be a time at some point that we go, well, until we can get more infrastructure for water, we're done.
Right.
So I think this council's done a really good job
Good.
at keeping their eye on the ball, and especially when it comes to water.
Good, yeah.
And we just did a grand opening of our sewage treatment plant today, which is really looking into the future and planning for the future. So I think we're in a good place, and I totally agree. We want to keep our eye on density, and I think we're there now with this. A lot of thought has gone into it, a lot of discussion by this council. So I'm pretty comfortable at this point now. So
It's nice to hear that too,
Yeah.
because we don't always hear we don't know what goes on behind or how many hours these guys sit at night looking, doing research and all that.
I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah,
So I was one of the ones that we debated strongly about the density and stuff. So we had a really good debate about it.
yeah.
And as you know, like it's all the voices that have to
Yeah.
count when it comes to council. So I think we all came together pretty well on it. So I'm pretty comfortable now.
Good. No, that's good.
And just, yeah. I totally empathize with when the information comes to the public, it seems like it's coming really fast. And I live in that same world too, living in the community. We held a special meeting last Wednesday that wasn't scheduled, just so that we could hammer out some more of these details. a lot of those meetings come to the public quickly because the Wednesday before we were sitting till 10 o'clock at night on Wednesday. And then we looked around at the table and we said, we got more work to do here. Let's host another meeting, make it available and open to the public to come and sit. I understand that people can't come. I wish there were more people here too. The open houses that we've had have been, the first one we had hundreds of people there. The second one wasn't as big, but I think that we were able to help answer a lot of questions at the first one so that people, I think, felt a little bit more at ease. But like Heather, we were looking at densities upwards of 30 plus, and we came to the decision last week to go down to 20 to have a conversation and make it not look and feel like Cochrane or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I hate when people come in and they're like, this is an example of Cochrane, and my brain just wants to turn right off because that's not why I moved here. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. So I side with Heather on a lot of this. We've worked really hard. Our planning department, Quantum, has gone above and beyond to meet with Foothills. A lot of your concerns are valid in terms of road closures and, adjacent properties that are going to be affected. We've looked at these countless times, and I want to thank you for coming and sharing your concerns because, coming here is one thing, but sitting in front of us is another.
Yeah.
So thank you, because it's not always easy, but we're listening. And the fourth Ave, if that's what it is, I think that's been on our radar since day one. And I think Quantum's heard that. Our CPOs have heard that. We will likely look at calming measures for traffic, whether that's speed bumps or future enforcement. Those things are all on our radar, and we don't want it to be a speed trap zone where people are flying through. We've made big steps in our school zones to make sure that those are a little bit safer with, and people, whoa, you put up the stop signs with the lights, we're turning into Calgary. That's not the intention. We're listening to the public. We've heard from multiple people about calming measures. We've tried to follow through in best practice. And so I just, again, wanted to thank you. And hopefully anyone else watching or listening understands that it does come fast, but developments like this are big projects and it can be overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me, and I read about it a couple times a week. For the average citizen, you look at a couple 100-page document, you're like, oh my God, this is gonna be in my backyard.
Right.
It's tough to see that and hear that. So we empathize and we're doing the best that we can.
And
Yeah.
I think, us, the public is putting our trust in your hands.
100%.
So your work that you are putting into it, thought is appreciated to maintain our community.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
We balance tax conversations with future development, and we get people screaming about taxes, and then we get other people screaming about the lack of affordable housing. And so it's just trying to juggle as best we can. And we appreciate the confidence that the community puts into us, and hopefully we represent the majority when we make our decisions. And obviously we can't please everybody. I'm going to be affected by development more than likely in the coming months, if not a year. But it's kind of one of those things. It's buyer beware in some respects too, right? And you hate to say that because nobody wants to hear that. Well, you should have known better. Well, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It's like my realtor told me it'd be 25 years away, and it's happening next year. And we don't like to use that as an excuse for our residents. It's like, well, you should have known better. That's not an appropriate response in my mind. We want to work with you guys. So really appreciate that both of you coming in tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. Nope, you spoke long enough to cover all the things that I was gonna say. The only thing left to say is this particular development has been talked about at council table for 4 years. And so we have put these guys through the ringer again and again and again. And traffic, of course, is my big one. So we're still working on those things. But that is exactly why we're here. And thank you for speaking, both of you. The density is less by 10, so it's looking good. Moving on, we're gonna stick to the system. Yeah, sure.
I really struggled with the hectare versus acres. That's what I couldn't get my head around. And so 20 units per hectare is actually 8.91 per acre. So isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it about that?
8.1
8.1. Yeah, so
I'm like, oh,
that's,
give me toward that wrong.
and before, I think if you went to per acre, before our municipal development plan comes into play, I think we were close to 9. 9 per acre.
No, actually, when we were discussing 30, it was almost 13.
Yeah, that's,
So,
13.
so yeah, so that's
That's
where
very committed.
I really got confused. I'm an old time farm girl and I haven't converted to hectares. So my brain still thinks in acres. So once we got to that and I heard it in acres, then I was okay. So just me getting my head
You're
around.
not a farmer.
It's just one of the.
Not
things. We ask residents to understand the stuff and we're sitting here looking at it a couple times a week. And we're like, what, you know, centimeters, inches, what are we talking about here? Sometimes it's overwhelming, right? So, yeah.
Jonathan, comment, and then I'm gonna move on.
Just a brief comment, and, you know, I'm always careful recognizing people, but Kathy has been at each of these meetings. And that really impresses me with the concerns that you shared and the consistent concerns. And Linda, to your point, council has heard. Like I said, we started at 30, which was almost 13 per acre. Then the municipal steering committee dropped it to 24, which is 9.7 per acre. And then after hearing again from the community, we decided at 20, which dropped it to just over 8. So we've been listening, and that is what we want from our community is their engagement. So ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Final questions. Any counselor may ask the CAO through the chair any relevant questions they wish, or of administration. Any further questions at this time? Remember, debate's going to be following up here. So. Okay. And I'm not against going into the audience there to ask administration some more questions later anyway. All right. If council is satisfied that they have obtained sufficient information from the public, I will close this hearing. So have you, good, Cindy? Got it? Hazel? Thumbs up. All right, and I would like to thank all those who spoke and provided submissions for their comments. Council may take all this relevant information into consideration when deciding on this matter. I now declare the public hearing. Hold on. I want to postpone this one. We're gonna close it.
Don't really slow because we're gonna make decisions.
Thank you. And now declare this public hearing. That's why you asked right there. I now declare the public hearing for bylaw 2025-119 and bylaw 2025-120 closed at 6:59 PM. All right. Okay. So. Moving on. No delegations, bylaws and policies. Now we are at 6.1. Bylaw 2025-118, Colts Crossing Area Structure Plan. Ms. Floriza, can you please add context to the bylaw we are looking at?
Yes, good evening. Again, so the bylaw before you is bylaw 2025-118, the Colts Crossing Area Structure Plan. The purpose of the item for you is to bring back the Colts Crossing ASP. During the regular council meeting on July 16th, a motion was passed that council direct administration to work with the applicant to develop policy statements to address the 4 points of concern raised by Flint Hills County as outlined in their letter on May 12, 2025, and incorporate them as amendments to the area structure plan for presentation to council. The applicant provided proposed amendments last Thursday, which at this point have not been evaluated by administration or Flint Hills County. And thus we are recommending postponement of the item until such time has elapsed that we can adequately review and provide comment back to council.
Yeah, no, that depends on. Councilor Gordon, please.
So that leads me to the question, our time on this council is coming to an end very soon. October 1st will be our last council meeting because the election is the 20th. So due to the regulations with public hearings, how are we going to make sure that we can make a decision prior to the next election?
Through the mayor, the proposed amendments have been circulated to the county under the IDP, or circulation period of time is 30 days. Should they choose to get back to us before that, that would be great. But we do have that circulation period effective.
When did that start?
I sent it on last Thursday, I believe was the 11th.
So that gives us plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cindy.
Can we set a special meeting date for the 13th of October kind of thing? Or call it earlier, should they respond earlier?
Because it's 24 hours notice, right?
I'm looking for something to do. Oh, I'm campaigning. Just kidding.
That's really sad.
Okay, can you clarify that ask again? Just the reading what?
Otherwise, if we don't have majority of council, of those that were there, and even if you have dissension, it's not fair to the applicant to have to go through a whole new public hearing process. And it's not fair for new council, especially if, we don't know how many people will apply, or put in nomination papers, so it could be whole new faces. And this is not a file that I would have been comfortable with as a new councillor 8 years ago. It's too big. So it needs to be dealt with prior to the election.
On top of budget.
Well, on top of budget, on top of
Like-
I just remember, I didn't even know how to make a motion 8 years ago, so I'm like, what the heck? So it's not fair to the applicant, to push it and to risk us not being here and having to go through a whole new public hearing process.
It's not fair.
Okay. Heather, then we'll go to Adam.
Yeah, I'm good with a special meeting. I might even be able to go to a special meeting if my eye's better.
We don't need you to be able to read, just listen and
But
talk.
hopefully they'll get back to us sooner than later.
I'll come with the agenda to you.
There's. Adam.
Thanks, your worship. 15th, it's probably your best bet. It's Wednesday. It's 2 weeks, keeps everything on schedule. It more than satisfies the 30 days. Lets us get agendas out in a good time. I think if we just set it, that's preferable to actually do via motion tonight, and then it's,
Comes in sooner than we can cancel it.
I very much doubt it'll come in sooner, your worship.
I have a question on that.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna delve into the realm of hypotheticals. So we circulate this and Quantum has presented their option. Where does it become council responsibility to accept the fact that Quantum has met their responsibility, even if Foothills County isn't pleased?
So through the mayor, through the mayor, as soon as you give a bylaw first reading, it is your bylaw.
Yeah.
So anything that is in it or not in it is ultimately council and the town's responsibility. So the challenge at hand is that you may then be adopting a bylaw that your administration hasn't adequately reviewed and be able to provide professional commentary on. And then in addition, section 690 of the MGA allows a neighboring municipality who have outstanding concerns on a statutory document, if they are not, if they still have concerns and you give it second, they can appeal to the Land and Property Rights Tribunal. And I would venture a strong suspicion that that process would be much slower than waiting for the county to reply.
Brendan?
For clarity, the county has 30 days
To respond.
to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in failing to do so, would we still have to go down the same route? Like if the county chose not to respond within the 30 days, could we still approve it on the 15th without all that stuff happening to us?
So,
Just clarity,
yeah, so.
because I would like to move, I'm ready to vote on this and I just want to make sure that I know what's going on before the 15th. Thank you.
Yeah, so again, through the mayor, at the end of the day, it's your bylaw, and if it goes to tribunal, you would defend it. If it goes to tribunal, the county would say why they're still in opposition. If the 30 days elapses and they haven't provided comments, the standard in industry practice is no comment is no comment. You have no concerns.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Davy.
Thanks, worship. I should say too, the IDP, it's 30 days, so from my perspective, that's council's obligation.
Yeah.
To mitigate any risk from the 690.
Here.
Thanks, thank you, Gary.
And if I may, just if the shoe is on the other foot and we felt so strongly about the county having something in their statutory plan, that we sent our planning director to speak at their public hearing, and then we sat here and went, what are they doing? Why are they approving this? We haven't even commented back to them. I would sure hate it if the tables were turned.
Okay, so this covers all the securities, all the timelines. It allows us to move forward without anyone getting screwed over, for lack of a better word.
Well, I think it's to Cindy's point, like, this is not fair to the council, and it's not fair to the applicant whatsoever.
No.
So I want to make sure that this is done.
Yeah.
Before the election.
I agree.
Yeah. We've been on this for 4 years. This is one of those, unlike the provincial government who goes into the red zone and don't make decisions for 6 months prior to an election, we do not have the luxury. We make hard calls. We make hard calls all the time. This has been a hard call, and we will make that hard call. So I just want to make sure, to everybody's point, we're in the timeline. We have the ability to cover this off. Call a special meeting, or it's not even going to be special. It's going to be a regular. We're just going to keep rolling.
No, special.
Okay, so we're gonna make a motion at the end of the meeting to have that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
I can give you that motion now.
I wanted to ask another question before we go for
yeah,
the motion.
okay, and Jonathan's ready too. So Brendan, then Jonathan, then Heather. Thank you. Too late, Jonathan.
I don't, kidding.
I'm just apprehensive that if the county comes back with something that we cannot address in time, like, is there the possibility that the county's gonna throw us anything that's gonna be hard to mitigate within? Like, if we come back with the special and there's a red flag and you're like, look, we can't deal with this before the election, like, is there a possibility of that? I guess there always is, but is there anything that you would see in your file that would cause concern?
I am not going to presume to know what the county's comments are going to be.
Okay.
Jonathan.
So the flip side of this is, what protections do we have in the MGA with a partner that potentially is antagonistic and wants to control our development? That's my concern. Because we have to have a mechanism on our side that protects us in that case. Not with the threat of a tribunal because we didn't meet their concerns. Because that is my concern, is the spirit in which this is being done. And so what is our protection?
Yes, so
That's a tight toss-up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So with respect to that, if council felt that the concerns were of a frivolous nature or something like that, let's say, that you were comfortable taking the risk going in front of the Land and Property Rights Tribunal, that if they were to 690 us, then that would be our kind of recourse.
So
Go
I'll
ahead.
follow up with that.
I got one.
Because I'm a big compliance regulation guy. I love it. So I do. Black and white, right? So let's give you a hypothetical. The quantum takes their concerns, answers them to the best of their ability in good faith. And the county comes back and says, no, still not happy after 30 days. Where does the line get drawn that allows the county to take it to the tribunal when the work has been done, even though it might not be their satisfaction? Because that I don't like that subjectivity.
Yes, sorry, there was a intermediate step that I did miss. My apologies. There is in the process under the intermunicipal dispute resolution, So one is administrative review, stage 2 is an intermunicipal committee review, stage 3 is municipal councils, then mediation, then appeal. So there is an arbitration option and a mediation process that, again, we would expect to happen before second reading. So no second tonight, put it on the agenda for the special on 15th.
Yeah.
If they come back and there's some sort of hard line in the sand, we're likely going into
Mediation.
a mediation type process.
Or just approve it at that point.
We could.
So by the second,
It wouldn't be recommended to
Doesn't-
approve it at
It's
the time
not
prior
a
to
second
mediation.
meeting. You can actually approve the ASP and go into arbitration and make amendments as a council.
we could approve it.
The challenge is that the 690 is approved at second.
But whether you approve second and third happens at the same time, so whether it's second and third or not.
We're gonna go to Cindy. Where's my MGA?
At the end of the day, whatever we end up in, whether it's mediation or land tribunal or whatever, if
We're happy
we
with
were to take that, I think by showing that we're following the process of giving them the 30 days to respond, whether we agree with what they respond back and want to go ahead with it or not, to show later on that we follow the process, we gave them the opportunity to respond, not we approved it tonight, but before we even gave them 30 days and then we ended up mediation. Like, we have to show that we've respectfully
We're working.
given them, and we're working with them because they're our neighbors forever. But I don't have a problem if there's still sticking points, things that we don't agree with. That I do fully believe that we could go ahead with second and third at the special meeting. After the 30 days, if we've gone ahead, or if we've given them, you know, their right to say their opinions. Like, let's follow the process to a T so we can't be held at fault.
Well, yeah.
So.
Agreed.
Agreed. I would point out that we had our IMC meeting with the county. And we had an extremely good meeting. It was all things that we wanted to see in that meeting. There was no negativity. There was cooperation. We passed the mutual aid agreement, service agreement, fire master plan agreement. One more, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but we did everything we needed to do on an intermunicipal committee level. Then we had the discussion on the IDP at that meeting to really talk about this proposal, as well as integrating that into the greater community of how we're going to look at holistically the entire community and the development that we're facing. And the county was totally on board to, let's put that as a priority for the next council. Let's get that rolling and move along. So I feel actually that we're on the right path, and following the process is going to keep us on the right path. No fingers in the eyes. We keep everything on the board and we move forward. The interesting thing is, to address some of the people who have really had concerns with traffic. I really harped on the traffic portion, and what's been explained is the government doesn't act proactively to transportation, they react to transportation. So until there's an issue, they will not address proactively. And I think the intersection at 338 and Highway 7, however many accidents we had there in the past, that unfortunately is how that works. So that wasn't really a good thing. So we agreed that we're gonna do a joint letter and try and get proactive approach rolling on Highway 7 and particularly at the turn to see if we can integrate. Because another thing that the public doesn't know, might be 4 years in planning, there's another 3 years, 5 years, 8 and 15 in the construction of this. So just because we approve something now does not mean you're gonna see houses next year. You're gonna see some movement. So you're gonna see lots more action, but it's gonna be years before you see things, right? And to be built out is a 10-year for the end of phase 2 or 3. Like it's a huge project. This is not small. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap this debate up. I think we've got the answers we want. We have a motion pending right here out of Heather. So Heather, I'll let you make that.
council postpone consideration of second reading of bylaw 2025-118 until
And hold.
and hold a special meeting on October the 15th, 2025 to consider the bylaw.
Thank you. Now, there we go.
Would you bring me a full agenda item? Would you bring me a full agenda?
Oh, agenda.
There should be note the time that we want to host that.
6:30.
5 o'clock.
5 or
Same.
6.
5.
Do it at 5?
That's pushing me.
Oh, okay, it's fine, it's fine. If you guys want to do it at 6, I'm not gonna argue, yes.
Keep it the same, and then everyone expects the same thing.
6 o'clock council meetings. October
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it would have been our regular council
1
meeting.
month from now,
Okay, all in favor?
yes.
Thank you. Good. All right, moving to bylaw 2025-119, land use new district 2RM. I have no problem with,
No. I don't think it's one of them.
Oh, okay.
yeah, this one we can move,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So,
this one we want to do.
I think
Okay.
we-
And I can speak to that. We don't have to go through it. It's
Sure.
made.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this amendment to the bylaw 2025-119, I'm not gonna make the motion. I can't see it here now, but I'm gonna speak to why I'm looking forward to redesignating this with a medium density. Is the reality is our town needs to grow, but it must be strategic growth. And some of the data that has come across my desk recently, even in talking with Councillor Holiday and Councillor Crane yesterday, is something that I heard of about 2 weeks ago, is that our population currently in Diamond Valley, 28% of our population is 65 years old and above. That's a concern. Similarly, Okotoks in that same age group is 14%. And the reality is, I'm going back in my mind to many, many years ago, Claire's Home, when my parents were retiring in 2006, 2008, they looked into Claire's Home because Claire's Home had focused on the senior population. And they thought that was a great move for them. And so everything that they did, their economic growth was focused on that 55 and above. Unfortunately, with 55 and above, you don't get economic growth. People come in, they have everything purchased, they're not looking to add to their families. And so as we look ahead to grow, I believe our growth needs to be much more targeted. And so for me in RM2, hopefully that will lower our housing costs so that, and I don't like using the word affordable, I've mentioned that time and again, because that's such a fluid target. What's affordable today might not be next year. So the potential for diverse housing that lowers our housing costs is something I promote. And that's why I promote this redesignation of this phase 1 to the R2M that allows for higher density and smaller homes and hopefully a reduced cost.
All right, well, I've got 2 recommendations. First one that we're gonna need is the council amend bylaw 2025-119 by changing laneless to laned in 4C. That's map 4C.
Happy to give that to you.
All right, Brendan's gonna give that.
That's the easy one.
All in favor? Excellent. And now let's take second and third. You
So
give
we
it?
postpone this one, right?
This one can go forward.
That's on
This
screen.
one-
Yeah.
This one's the,
That's still on 18. That one's postponed. That's going away.
Yeah.
That's coming back to us on the
yeah, the
15th. I'm on 2025.
25-119.
Yeah,
sorry, my bad.
it's all right. It's all good.
Keep us on our toes, Mara.
Switching my paper.
Okay, who?
Oh,
Ooh.
she can put the motion on the table for a second. I
Yep.
do.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That council gives second reading to bylaw 2025-119 as amended.
Okay, all right, motion is on, debate, Cindy.
I'm fully in support of it, other than I just feel more comfortable with the minimum
Same.
and just from learning experience after they are one. But I don't know what they are and I hate making things on the fly. Like I'm looking at our current, the former Black Diamond, there are 4 apartment and attached housing district. Their minimums are 850 square foot for a single story building. 500 for the first story of a 2-story building and then 900 overall for a combined 2-story. But if you're contemplating 3 stories, like, I don't know, but I just don't want to see a 400 square foot house
Mm.
on these lots.
Yeah.
That's my, yeah, and I get you don't, but I know that economics change, developers change, people go bankrupt, and then somebody else comes in, and then you don't have control. I saw that living in seclusion valley, you don't know what's gonna come in, or when somebody was making.
And hold it for 20 years and then something next to it.
Yeah, so, even if it's, I get why planning people don't like you did a good explanation as to why there's not minimums, there's more creativity. But I want to protect.
So if I
Not
could,
like a 600,
if I could,
800 or something.
I'm gonna throw in our carry, is there not, 40 to 60% land coverage for a lot?
That's maximum, not minimum.
Yeah.
So for instance, on the single detached, the maximum of 50% would be a 1,200 foot, 54 square foot bill. That's the maximum. But without a minimum stated, you don't have to come meet that.
40% lot coverage.
So we could put that as a,
Oh, well, that is a minimum. 60 is a maximum, if I'm correct. 60 is a maximum for lot coverage.
so we'd have to build a minimum.
I think it's just an easy, I don't know if the planning, if they have
You have a
it's an 800 square foot minimum reasonable. Or do you think that they're contemplating smaller?
If you wanted to do 800 square foot and just establish the minimum that you can live with, I'd be okay with that. But I'd also be okay with working with Carrie on what that could be.
Okay.
Since we're bringing back 118 on 15th anyway, postponement of this to include options for minimum floor areas. And then we might actually be able to bring you like 2 or 3 options with merits and drawbacks of why you might want to go with one over another.
Nope.
We give it a second.
We can give a second and then we back.
Well, second with direction to provide that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then there's one last motion.
Okay, yes, Heather,
Yeah.
you friendly amend that?
Yeah, the council gives second reading to bylaw 2025-119 as amended and bring it forward to the October 15th, 2025 special meeting to receive, to be amended to include
To review options for floor size Minimum.
options for
Minimum
minimum
floor
floor size.
Yeah. and leave it at that.
Might be really bad.
Yeah, floor area. I was just thinking that in our land use. Thank you, Katie.
Area.
Minimum area.
Thank you.
Minimum floor area.
And you know the intent of our ask, so.
Did you get that?
Just.
Thanks for working with us. I mean,
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say, Jonathan. I want to thank planning and Quantum because I know that this feels, and it has been drawn out. But I hope the intent of these is bringing you some hope that we're gonna get this rectified on the 15th. So I just wanted to say thanks for your patience and your work. So that's all I want to say.
At the end of the day, it's council's file.
I know, it just seems like it's like we throw the ball and then it like lands in front of our feet and just like. It's been long, and I know everyone's been working hard, we've been burdening staff along with this and it's a big document. That's all.
But as we know, people will see this other people and say, I want this too, so. Yes, it's Colt's bringing it, but. Once it's in our land use bylaw, other people will be looking at it, so let's get it right.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, motion on the floor, any further debate? All in favor?
Right on.
And scared?
Thanks.
All right, and then
The next one,
bring us to the 15th as well, we'll rock them all.
Yeah.
Rock them all in one shot. Base will be aligned and we'll have the last of the boxes checked out.
So I'll give you that motion to postpone bylaw 2025-120.
Yeah.
For the special meeting on October 15th, 2025.
Thank you, all in favor?
well, until the ASP for the public forum is adopted.
It'll be there. And that's where we'll do it. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Thanks, Hazel. Okay.
Allison's or Jessica, you're Allison. You think I'm gonna be giving birth by then?
Oh, yeah, I won't be here.
What did you think?
It's really not.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He was hoping to have this done.
well, at this point, the baby's name is Colt.
Well, it's a girl, so that might not work for him.
My friend's gonna.
Well,
After the.
Colter, I said Colton.
It's
You're
Colt.
not seeing it, you're
It's
being-
after the Indianapolis Colt.
The name is Cece.
At least you'll be laughing out in the apples. There you go. Okay, let me see here. I think we've got that covered off, so thank you. Okay, moving on to action items. 7.0.1, which is pulled from the say the word agenda, the
Consent, your worship.
consent agenda, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
7.8, that was not the library, it was the
Bulk water bill in the library. You would move.
bulk water. Okay, bulk water is up first.
Thanks for making that trip.
Yeah, you can hit the road again and
I'm
don't
gonna
get
traffic.
stuck in
I'll
traffic.
be traffic on the way home.
What part got you first before we get on with our night? Cause I was in Calgary and everywhere I went was a nightmare.
So we tried going down Deerfoot this
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
And then, well, because last time we got
Last time
stuck
we didn't
behind
stop.
construction
Yeah.
and there was several accidents and then
Oh.
we got stuck behind the light in Okotoks.
Which one?
That.
There's one thing, one.
When you hit the motorcycles, you get through going down the hill.
As soon as you hit one red one, you hit every single
The
one.
side road is open now, the S-turn road is open.
Yeah, well, I went that way. Once Google redirected
There
me.
you go.
Safe travels.
Okay, 7.0.1, 7.8. Bulk water, Cindy. Bulk water. Oh,
I was surprised at the cost of this. Really surprised.
find it now.
Is that really? I guess that's my question, as unprofessional as that sounds. Is that really?
Yes, through the chair. There's a few factors to consider. We don't have a facility that's set up for receiving trucks of any half tons are one thing or 1 ton are one thing, but if we're talking about a farm truck, 3-ton truck, anything larger, we need to be able to provide that space for that truck to pull in, turn around, remove. We also don't want a bulk water station adjacent to a residential area, because obviously we're gonna have lots of complaints. And then, of course, we need to be able to supply a reasonable volume of water in a reasonable amount of time. We don't want a bulk water purchaser to be sitting there for an hour and a half just to fill their tank. So we need sufficient water supply. And then naturally, we're also going to need power and internet because we want to be able to receive payment for that water and be able to turn that valve on for that customer. So yeah, there are a few challenges with this because suitable locations within Diamond Valley. Although there are some suitable locations to set up a bulk water, it does require infrastructure to allow for that setup.
Me first. This one totally got past me. I didn't even notice it because we asked for that. So the overflow site for Turner Valley at the bottom of the hill from the Legion has ample, nobody around, has a chained area. Definitely has water going to it as there's septic running through it. So it has internet because it's got alarms. So to me, that's an easy low hanging fruit if we can make money. But
But that would be a minimal infrastructure cost.
yeah, so I'm throwing it out there because we need revenue. And this is a revenue generator. So do you have a best site or have you?
Well,
There's two.
our primary focus is that particular location at the end of Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Down by the gas plant, it's suitable, it's industrial or commercial.
Yeah.
We do have all of those things within a degree. We do lack some, capacity for those vehicles to turn around. So we would have to consider that. It's important to note that we only own 2/3 of that road. The last third of that road down to the river is not ours, so we have to be cognitive of where we put this location and where that turnaround is, because we cannot trespass on Concord.
I don't even want to know. You said the word to burn my ears then. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, before we go too much further down this route, I totally agree. We need the revenue generation and we have the water license. How will we determine the need before we actually invest in that? So have we heard from people requesting this outside of the community? And if not, my advice would be, we've got to do a focus survey on that to see what the need would actually be before we put the money into it. Because I don't believe in the build it and they will come philosophy.
Well, let's go to Hazel and then she might just add flavor.
Craig did have a question, answer there.
I guess I'm kind of piggybacking off of a little bit of what Jonathan is saying. How many bulk users do you have right now?
None. They don't provide that.
Zero, because we don't have a water fill station.
If I may, through the chair, we have utilized bulk water sales through some of our, so if you remember when TC Energy was in town, we were selling them water. And we sold a large amount of water to them. And currently we have Ranahan doing some reclamation work and we sell, a couple thousand liters a month to them.
Yep.
To do their project. It's not that we don't have zero, but right now we're utilizing fire hydrants and we do have a bulk water rate currently, so we are capable of supplying water. But that doesn't serve the local ranch or residents that need that bulk water for other purposes. Right now, most people drive down to Longview. I have had many inquiries over the years to supply, or if we're going to supply a bulk water service. Aside from the large cost to implementing a facility, there really are kind of a low maintenance. It's not a no maintenance, but it is a reasonably low maintenance facility. Once we've got it up and running, you're gonna want, some securities in place. You're gonna need, so that's part of why it costs so much. You want to ensure that someone can't just jerry rig the system because it's out of sight, out of mind. Someone drives away with, 40,000 liters of water and damaged our facility. So this is why some of that cost is there. We also want that facility to have a storage tank versus direct draw, because a direct draw, if you're filling multiple trucks, we could start seeing a reservoir drop and then raise some alarms in our SCADA system. So if you have a large reservoir on that site, which is part of that cost, you're drawing from the reservoir and it's not as impactful on our reservoir. And and it also separates our source from their source, which would be in place anyways, but this is just a double separation.
Can we bring that to the future council's budget for consideration?
Absolutely.
Slide it in.
Capital, your worship, 2026.
Please do.
That's a motion.
Yeah, I'll make an emotion and now debate. Cindy?
I do wonder if discussions with Shuck and with the county would be warranted, because I know they have a lot of their own residents. I know that there's been a lot of political debate and issues around the Fish Creek or Fish, whatever name it is, but up in Millerville, 762 area, with closing things. And I know there's a lot of moving parts there for county and county residents on water and who potentially would be customers. But at the same time, if the county has their own plans, or something in the works, it would be nice to know, and they might have more information.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I wish I'd thought about this yesterday, because I was sitting with Harry and he would have told me in about 2 seconds flat whether this was necessary or not, right?
Absolutely.
Like, or something that they'd be interested in helping, because they are a partner with Sure. So, I would, so I don't know if we just put it on a,
Just go.
well, could we, yeah, or admin talking to admin first in a informal, I don't know the relationships there that you have with their, with the people running that, like, I think that we can do some preliminary things before we go to the putting it on a budget and doing more research on it, because they might have something.
I
in
can
the
certainly
works.
reach out to the county and have that discussion.
Yeah,
100%. I can tell you this, they are putting in a massive water facility on Alder side right on the highway, and that will have a water fill station,
oh, for sure,
100%. So
Yeah.
the beauty of this is like Longview does get a lot of service from this area. When the Eden Valley Water Treatment Plant burned down, it was a train gang of trucks, just steady go. So it saved the day for them. We would just be adding to the ability for farmers to not waste more gas, save the environment an extra trip, another 30K each way. So it's a profit model, but let's get it back for the new council to look at, and that'll be it. Final thought, and then.
Final thought through the chair. Absolutely. Longview is a great resource too. We can find out what kind of consumption and usage they basically well.
Better starting point.
Yes,
Said county.
We can do both.
sound good, all in favor? Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Great poll, Susie, I totally missed it. 702, which is library financial.
Yeah, I just am questioning, Craig, you probably can answer this. They're, putting in reserves, $60,000 allocated in reserves. And I'm, for capital reserves, library, and I'm just kind of wondering why, because it's our building. I understand operating reserves, but capital reserves I'm struggling with.
Through the chair, Councillor Thompson. Unfortunately, I'm unaware of why they would be putting money aside.
Hazel's is on the board.
I know they have many ideas, but they're not always shared, so.
Hazel's got her head up.
That's the problem.
Hazel?
There's probably about $40,000 coming out of the reserves, Councillor Thompson, to go towards the finishing of the solar panel project.
That's included.
Sorry.
They say here 25,000 of is allocated for the solar project.
But it actually came in at closer to 40.
We just got this report, so I'd look to Lisa to.
I believe John Waring and Tracy Mills Carr have met with Lisa.
So I'll look to Lisa.
Lisa does.
So I'm just trying to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
I believe that the 60,000 is in addition to the solar, if I was understanding correct. I did go through it, but they did assure me that they are using those capital reserves for larger purchases. They didn't tell me what they are. I do know, they mentioned shelving, computers. So if they are using that capital reserve money rather than adding it to the requisition. So if they weren't using those funds, it would be requisitioned to us.
That's weird for capital. Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Back all together.
I don't want to throw any nails in because they're, they do a great job, but it's just, if it is our building, I don't know why there's that much in capital, and computers and stuff would be almost operating reserves.
I would say.
that depends on what they have for a policy. I would agree for us, they are. I would also say that the way I understood this, and perhaps Councillor Martin knows, but I did ask for their balance sheets from their accounting software, and those reserves are not designated on the balance sheet. That's why it says surplus. So I think they're informal reserves. That's my understanding. So I'm assuming they could use those reserves for other purchases.
That is correct, Lisa.
Yeah, and I get it for operating expenses, like.
Yeah.
And you know, really, like they've said that 90,000 covers 3 months of operating expenses, but then in addition, 20,000 for ADP payroll reserve, which is an operating expense. So it's just a bit confusing.
Yes,
what
and
they're doing.
like I said, their balance sheet that was presented is not very specific. So, and then I did request the other balance sheet, which is why it's just sitting in surplus, because it is informal, they're informal reserves. So technically they could use that money if they needed to use that $60,000, they could use it for something other than capital.
Okay. Thank you.
Cindy.
I have two concerns. One being the interest earned on that money sitting in those accounts. And whether, I know we take great care to make sure that any extra cash we have on hand is being invested and has a little bit of return. So I would worry about library that doesn't have that degree of expertise doing that. I also don't like we go through great lengths as a town to have division, separation of duties and proper accounting and more controls over our system. So having large amounts of money in a library board that doesn't have those controls in place worries me. So those are my two concerns, but I get that they do need some money for operating, and if they have some plans for capital, I don't know if there's just needs to be some controls put in place, because ultimately it comes back on us at the end of the day. So.
Also, like, you might know this better than, like, so $10,000 for amortization. Like, isn't that kind of doubling up?
Yeah, there's just questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, your worship. So just a reminder, the town has no oversight of the library.
That's right.
They are their separate board. The only thing we do is approve or deny their budget. So Lisa and I are meeting with them to review their budget in a few weeks, and we could make a request that as part of the town's budgeting process, the library board come and present. That which gives your check and balance. But that's the separation, right? So the bylaw, separate board.
Yeah.
Council does do that requisition, but where you do have the positive control is the budget.
And don't I know it? How shall I not interfere in the library's goods? Shall not. They're doing a good job. All right. Can we move on?
Sorry, your worship, so just to clarify, does council want?
Council.
Yeah.
Well, let's start to request that the library board comes in.
Yep, for
as
sure.
Part of the budget process.
Yep.
Yeah.
The council needs to see all the angles.
Yeah, because it's been a number of years. They used to come in regularly.
Yeah.
And they've kind of fallen off.
As a matter of fact, make that motion, I'm getting the following. Go ahead.
Yes.
I can ask this.
Yes, we were corner.
So the motion, Verna, would be that we for directed administration to notify the library board that we would like a budget presentation for them as part of the town budget process.
All in favor?
Yeah, on the invite, it's a.
And won't put it into a motion because I know Laura will do it. Can you also make sure that West Winds knows that a new council will need a presentation for their
I'm meeting with them next week. I can bring it to them if you want.
I don't know.
You can leave.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need to make a motion. We just.
Just asked her, can I speak to that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just asked her to wait till after the election because they're gonna come with a big ask.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Just another
a big ask.
preemptive.
I said, can we please just wait so that we don't have to put this in front of our council leading up to an election. It's a good ask, but it's gonna be, I wanted to leave it in front of the new council.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the buses will sweeten them up a bit, but it's gonna be a big ask.
We're building something big.
What do you wanna know? I'll tell you.
We got them.
It's not, yeah, no, it's not as, everything's available in public records at our meetings, it's all online, but, with the Okotoks developments going ahead full steam, they'll be looking to develop in Diamond Valley after they finish that up, so. Yeah, so, and we already assigned them the land, beside the hospital, but the municipality. Adam, can you correct me if I'm wrong, is it 5% match? Do a not-for-profit, I think it's 5%.
I can't say off the top of my head.
Okay, I believe it's 5%, so, $10 million building, you guys do the math.
No.
Okay, well, you don't, I'm just putting it out into the public so that there's no, I don't want to appear secretive, I want to be transparent. So it's not an ill ask, it's an ask that will support the community, it's a great thing.
Okay.
So.
Alrighty. Moving on, no motion required there, all looks good. Let's move on to the 7.1 fee waiver request.
Would you like me to give them that?
Yeah, what's motion?
Yes, sir. The council waived the MDP amendment and advertising fee under the rates and fees bylaw 2024-96 for mapping amendments to align with the gateways of Turner Valley Area Structure Plan Amendment proposal brought forward by Township Planning and Design Inc. Under amendment file 033-2025 ASP affecting 1525 DeCalta Road Southeast / Block 2 Plan 9412513 roll number 1503000 or 510th Southeast Lot 1 Block 1 Plan 06144048 / roll 150400.
No kidding. Can you?
This is in good faith to township developers who potentially feel or probably feel that the goalposts have been moved a little bit through the MTP planning process, and the intentions of council were not to, or are not to do that to the extent that it would impact future development, whether it be in Diamond Ridge or the mentioned area. And as a show of good faith, we want to make sure that we have a good relationship with our developers who have been extremely flexible with timelines and approvals because of our surplus of applications. And yeah, I don't know if there's more that needs to be said.
If you could just add the amount, that'd make a perfect motion.
Oh, was it not in the, oh, okay. The base amount amendment fee is 8,000 plus 400 for advertising fee. So,
Perfect.
yeah, the town would be effectively out that money, but given the size and scope of the development, and the relationships that we're building with some of our newer developers coming in, we want to make sure that we, can honor agreements potentially that have been made or not followed through on because of the amount of info that we've been dealing with.
Cute. Heather.
And just a question, if I could to Carrie. They've already paid area structure plan fees once, correct?
Yes.
Because they had an ASP in place and now they're aligning more so to our new MD.
So through Councillor, to Councillor Thompson through the mayor, the land in question is the west of the new Royal Light Greens Phase 1.
Yeah.
There is the Gateways Area Structure Plan in place currently. It's an active bylaw. There is an active ASP amendment application, 033-2025 ASP. And so the discussion last week on the 10th was, since they already have that ASP amendment open and we know they want to change some things and they're caught with the timing of the MDP.
Yeah.
That mapping change where they wanted to shift the commercial from kind of southeast corner to the southwest corner. When the ASP is brought forward for amendment under their application, we will bring forward the MDP amendment concurrently, and the MDP amendment fee is what's being waived.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Brendan.
Just one more comment in regards to township. Initially, they wanted the was it the business component removed entirely, and you know, again, came and agreed to maintain that business spot. They just wanted it moved. And so that's the clarity here, is that we're not, yeah, but they're at least maintaining what was initially kind of designed, but they just want to relocate to what they may see as more applicable to their design.
Okay. Closing debate, all in favor?
Yes.
You opposed? Others opposed?
No, I had my hand up for in favor.
Okay, here we go. This is gonna be a good one. 7.2, the 2026 water and wastewater rates review. As you recall, we started out on a plan to get to a net zero. And I think we phased it over 7 years as our originally, or was it 5? I think it was 5. It was 5, and that was aggressive. It was a very aggressive plan, and I think we have to have a real good, solid look here. And Lisa's got a fantastic chart that she is going to be able to show us.
We just take a minute, your worship, just so we can get it all set up.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. We could get actually a recess right now and be good. Waste, water and water rates. Lisa. First, show us our 5-year agreement that we agreed to.
Let her do her
I was
thing.
like, I got.
Yeah. Come on.
Right to the point.
Don't try. All right, your turn. Floor is
Well,
yours.
a bit.
That was funny.
I do. Okay, so
You're up.
I guess I've distracted you with my software
You know
here.
that.
I guess just a couple points. Obviously, I'm not gonna reread my RFD. But this, what I brought forward was the 5-year plan that you guys saw in 2024. Obviously, the full cost recovery rates are higher. We've had less water consumption this year, which changes the cost per cubic meter, and costs have gone up. Okay, so let's just jump right into the fun stuff. Just some background. The scenarios that I've built in here are using a 3% interest rate for expenses. Currently, we're sitting at just under 2. So, and I did change it all out with 2, and it's negligible. I assumed a $500,000 capital budget for both water and wastewater from 2026 on, which is small, very small. So, and just a reminder that where we were headed was the variable rates should cover operational expenses, and those fixed rates are meant for capital or reserves. And these scenarios also do not have any money going into reserves. They are just so it's pretty bare bones. So the one that you see right now is the baseline. This is what we are charging for rates right now. And I'm just gonna, these are the operating expenses for water. And I just add in, this is what we're collecting from variable rates right now with our prices right now. And if they stay the same, you can see there's a very slight increase because I've used a 1% population increase just for right now. So if we were to have no changes for water, this is what you would see from your variable, and this is adding in your fix. So you can see we get close to covering operating expenses, but that's not even touching capital or putting anything into reserves. I took that expense line out. If we were to put in the $500,000 capital, you can see we're not even touching it. And if we go to cash flow, you can see the decline because we're having to use reserves to cover off expenses. Do you want me to show you wastewater as well? I'll let you guys direct this. I can show you wastewater. They're very similar, or we can just do water right
I
now.
assume we run out of reserves, right? Is that what that line goes
Yeah,
down?
yes.
That's why it's going down.
There's no more money.
What is the start year here? It's just so hard to see for
Twenty twenty-three,
Sorry, yeah, it's 2023. So
Is the start year on the far side?
yes,
first one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
So I do have a question,
Sure.
since you mentioned it. When we were discussing the 5-year proposal last summer, we were based on the forecast, looking at a 780,000 into reserve. So what happened there?
if we hit, that was at full cost recovery. So this
Full
year,
cost recovery was 1.2.
I think it was, this year we were looking at about 300,000. And the reason it's changing is because our costs are changing and our water sales are low this year. I'm speculating because of the rain,
Yeah.
right? So it's fluctuates. So in your 25 budget, once we had updated data, because keep in mind that was 2024, it left us with 300,000 going into reserves, once we get those actual costs or the previous year's actual costs.
So my concern on this is because this has happened before, right? About 5 years ago on the Turn Valley side, we first talked about the full cost recovery. We had a number given to us that wasn't realized. And so it's happening again. So I'm very hesitant about this. So I'm gonna ask a question that's outside the box, and you might not have the numbers, but if we flip the model from full cost recovery to straight user pay. So based on the water being delivered and the wastewater being treated, and just that amount used, what would, now the reason I'm asking this, I would love to know that calculation so that we then flip what is needed as far as the amortization, capital costs, and so on and so forth, and put that into a guaranteed investment infrastructure replacement fund instead. Because what I'm hearing on the street from residents are, yeah, your total cost recovery, you've tried this before, it's a moving target that you can't really fully settle on. And so we keep raising rates where I'm almost at a place where this is what it costs to deliver. This is what you pay as a user pay, and we focus more on a guaranteed infrastructure replacement fund and have that itemized so that we are certain this is what is going towards that item. That's kind of where I'm at.
Just so I'm clear,
Yeah.
so you're saying, are you saying remove the fixed rates from covering capital? Or, because that was the intention, so that capital, those fixed rates are based on meter size.
Yeah.
So they target your larger users. And that's what they're meant for when in this model of rates is to cover your capital. And so just your variable, which is user pay, that would be your user pay model. So if you want, that would look like is we would take out the capital and we would have to bump that variable rate up to match the operating costs. It's, and I totally understand it feels like a moving target. And I do remember when I worked those reserve numbers out, it was based on fixed costs, number of meters, which hasn't changed a lot. We've grown a little bit. And then expenses, and the water budget for 2025 there was a significant increase from 2024. So that's why when, at the end of the day, when the budget came to you, there was only 300,000 left to put into reserves. And let's hope that's an actual, because with our decrease in water sales, that it may not be achievable. And that's what we're running into, and that's what the model shows. So if I can show you the option that I put in front of you. So if we put the operating expenses and I put the variable rate, we are still not covering operating expenses. If you add in the fixed, you get there. But then there's not much going to capital. So I think what you're asking is, could the consumption rate cover off the the user pay model, like what is actually being used, because in that model, they're being charged for consumption for water and wastewater. But then the capital should be those fixed charges, so we have to increase the rate unless you want to shift it to taxes. So then if you were to build a fund and that would shift to tax revenue, right? If it's not coming from the rate.
And the reason I bring this forward is and help me out, Adam, our federal and provincial funding is about what, 1.5 million a year, basically?
Yes.
So if we don't have a defined infrastructure replacement fund, we have to have that set target, in my opinion, which is based on our financial audit, we need to have around 3 to 4 million a year. And that still leaves a bit of a deficit. So if we subtract the 1.5, we're looking at, we should be establishing a 1.5 million reserve minimal, probably likely much higher. So how can we make sure that's definitive and not keep having these moving targets? That's my concern. The way we have the model built now is there's too much room for a moving target. I'd like to know, honestly, I'd like to know how Didsbury does it. Because Didsbury does 1.2 million a year into reserves, plus another 400,000 into a reserve, and they're a town like ours. So we've got to find a definitive plan.
Didsbury's fixed costs are, their model is it is this model, because I spoke to them. Their fixed costs go to capital. So when we built the 5-year plan, which is now with these numbers like a lot longer plan, that was our target, but we were offsetting our operating expenses with that fixed revenue to keep the rate lower to satisfy residents. No, I totally agree. I mean, this is the model with the current rate I'm proposing, option 1. And so if you can see the brown, like the bottom, the dark brown, that's those fixed rates, those fixed by meter size. Then this is consumption costs. So right now it's 287 per cubic meter for water. That's where that revenue is. It will always be a moving target with water because of consumption, right? But what I proposed originally, and what I would still propose, that you work off the most current data you can get.
Yeah.
And come as close as you can. And then it's kind of like we do with waste, right? Like that's a moving target with tonnage. So you just adjust for the next year, right? And then it should balance out, but we're not doing that. We're not catching up, and we're shifting those fixed rates to cover off operating. And when we see increases in operating expenses and decreases in consumption, it's coming out of reserves.
Yeah, it's, I sit here and I'm like, we increased rates and we asked residents to use less water, and they did. Right? We talk about water consumption, right? And so we're like, hey guys, use less water, pay less money. And they listened. Like the data is right here. Now, again, granted, we did have a wet summer, but people are probably getting the message. I'm one of those guys. I tell my kids not to use so much water in the tub, and there's, a lot of water recycling. My second thought is, the conversation of, maybe this is going along what you're talking about, Jonathan, is like increasing our fixed rates and then leaving alone, maybe for the time being, the increase in consumption, like
potentially
what we're doing. Because then that brown part's going to get bigger. The bottom brown number is going to get bigger. And then we still give, so that's my thought. Because that's the guarantee, right? The fixed rates guarantee every month. So it's not based on consumption anymore.
Yeah, my concern is we need some certainty in what's going into reserves.
It's the fixed rate.
So how can we build that certainty?
What is it now? Like 30 some?
44.
44.94 for each.
40.
Yes, it would be to use the fixed rate that we currently have. It absolutely can be changed. I can show that to you right now, what that looks like. For reserves, the only way to guarantee that though is to shift your variable rate, because that should cover your operating expenses. And then you can ensure that those fixed charges are going to reserves. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you absolutely can.
You raise one or the other though.
Yes.
At some point,
Yes,
at this point, it goes to
exactly.
the same place.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I want a question on population. Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
but let's just ground it to.
Yeah.
The costs are gonna be borne.
Mhm.
It's just where, right? All we're doing is we're just shuffling the seats on the Titanic, right? That's it.
Yep.
That's really what we're doing here. So just so we,
Oh, we're not sinking yet.
no, I'm sorry.
We have the opportunity to patch the hole.
That's usually,
It's just nobody wants to patch.
we're shuffling the decks on the Queen Elizabeth. I mean,
Yeah,
still in
yeah.
service.
We're not, again, like our water and sewage, you know, like we got very good quality water and sewage, right? We get that, but that's ultimately what we're here, right? So you drop one, it just goes up higher on the other.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the difficulty that is hard to convey.
So, so you probably have it here, if I may. What should we be putting into reserves? Like, what would be the optimum amount that covers only
Oh.
our utility services?
For reserves,
Hmm.
we're not far off from that.
At 780, or do we need more? Is that too
this-
high?
I mean, I would recommend that you would leave fixed rates as they are right now,
Hmm.
adjust your variable and see where we land with that, because
See, that's where my head's going to.
yeah, I would leave the fixed rate, and especially because it's a new, like, not a new model, but I know in Turner Valley, it was a lot less. So that jump on the fixed rates was quite a lot for some people, but at the end of the day, exactly to Adam's point, it's got to come from somewhere.
Yep.
And so when we're short, it's coming from reserves. But if you were to increase your variable rate, it will help eliminate those fixed revenues having to be used for operating expenses.
So then, like, I love that. So to really, because quite a few of the residents at that water open house we had
Mhm.
were rightly concerned about us doing a really dramatic increase immediately.
Yes.
So what's the best model to stretch it out so that they're not, that we're, because I mean, this year, like, there was such a huge property tax increase due to provincial
Yes.
education levy. So what, I mean, how can we help our community?
So you would stretch that out, but that means you're not going to be putting money into.
We'd still be taking it out of the fix.
Absolutely. Yeah, the only way, so when I put into the RFD what your actual cost would be, it's $4.90 per cubic meter water, $4.92 per wastewater. I would also like to caution or put out there that wastewater is going up. So these numbers I've provided here are using the most current data to date, 2025 data, but we are not going to know the actual operating cost of the lagoon upgrade until we run it for at least a year, I would say 2.
So I hate saying this to council, but because we don't know what the base costs are for at least the next year with the wastewater, I find it very difficult to go ahead and increase the rates at this current time. And if we're able to put 300 grand into reserves now, as I don't want to push this, I hate even contemplating putting it down the line, because I know we need reserves, but I'm a big fan of knowing what the base is, and that helps me to make a definitive plan. That make sense?
Yes, but I would say that the base is only going up. So your base expenses are only going up with the lagoon. Water is pretty, I feel water is pretty good right now, like our actuals are pretty close. The lagoon base is only going up. So if you delay increasing it all, that jump to get to full cost will be
That's right.
Yeah.
huge.
So
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
Right.
The numbers are 14% and 18%, I think, on both
Yes.
of them. Like, let's talk 5 to 7% for each of them, do half. And that way next year for a new council, this is not as a big of a shock, because I spearheaded this a couple of years ago with the tax increase. I said no. And I regret that after we brought Adam on board, because we only made it more difficult for ourselves down the line. Any rate at this point is gonna help the future councils make decisions. We cannot, in good conscience, I can't leave this at zero. Like, there is absolutely no way. And residents already know that it's gonna go up. If we meet at a third or even half, residents are gonna be happy. And the shock next year with the new council is not gonna be as rough, even though hopefully a couple of us are sitting at the table. I think that we have to be more responsible in these increases. I'm with everyone, like, we can't go 14, 18 blind. But if we go half of both those numbers, or even a little bit less, even if we just say we'll go up 5 or 6% on each, I don't care.
She's taking so now can you do the cool spreadsheet of take the 5, turn it into a 10-year for us and show us where we're at? Because on this year, we're actually right on the bar, but now we need to account for.
This is 10-year or pretty close to 10-year. For water, it's an 8% increase. Here's your predicted operating expenses. Here's your variable. So by 2023, you're hitting your
33.
Sorry, yes,
Okay.
thank you. In 2033, you're hitting your target with your costs covering. Sorry, with your revenues covering your costs. Now, keep in mind, it's always going to be a moving target.
100%.
Yeah, there's no guarantee, but that 8% would bring you close to 10 years, and that's continuing. Let me just check for you.
On the population growth, that was the thing.
Yes, so this is continuing 8% each year for water. So if you were to put in,
Is that consumption, you mean? Or just water?
oh, sorry, 8% rate increase to your variable rate.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we do an 8% rate increase,
24 cents.
it gives me pretty close to full cost in 10 years. Well, we started in 24. Sorry, I'm doing my math in 2024 because that's when we wanted to have the 5-year plan. So would you like me to put in a predicted population increase?
Yeah,
And
put 4%.
a 4% population
Sure.
increase?
Per year?
Yeah.
That's strategic, that's targeted.
Starting in 27?
Sure.
We tried 2%.
2% is what we've always had,
We've always had.
and we've never had this type of interest, right? We're talking 100 people just on Regent Street,
Yeah, that's true.
you know what I mean? So what I've seen in all other surrounding communities during construction, you've got the small towns like us in Manton that were always at the 2 and 3%. Every other community, 6 to 10. 6 to 10, and for 20 years for those.
Okay, so here's, that's with a 4% population increase starting in 27.
And that's 2029, we're at the mark instead of 2033.
Well, let's just quickly,
If you think of it, that's just 1% more than the growth that we've seen since we've been in council. We've been at 3%.
so you're pretty,
Creepy crawl.
it speeds it up by two years. Hitting your variable revenue, hitting your operating expenses or covering your operating.
And that's at the 8%
8,
variable
yes,
Yeah.
8%
consumption.
in consumption increase, 4% population growth.
Those are real numbers, John.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's it.
And
That's it.
during that whole time, we're keeping our fixed rate at the 44.94, or does that have an 8% growth as
Nope,
well?
that's keeping it held, because the message I thought I heard from you guys that you wanted to hold that fixed rate.
Yeah,
So that's holding it. I did not put an increase into the fixed rate for any of these areas.
I'm even a fan of rounding those numbers out, 44.94, rounding it up to 45, to be honest with you, and each of the meters,
Mhm.
Now, with that rate, if we do this way, it's not gonna be locked in stone that we're putting that amount into reserves, but how much dollar-wise potentially will that be on the current data?
Is a separate spreadsheet I have,
Yeah.
but let's just look,
Each will, if you could put that in here.
well, you can. So if I take this. So this is just $500,000 capital, and then your fixed, you can see it exceeds, so you can see the revenue, it's about 700,000, goes up to over 900 just for water, so that's why we get into the 1.4 from the 700, so you can see that even And there's where those numbers came from. So in theory, we should have had 700,000
This year.
this year, but we don't because
Didn't have it.
we were
Last-
slowly increasing the variable rate. So that's where it dropped to the 300.
Makes sense.
And for me, 300 grand is better than none.
We're still putting ourselves in a positive position.
That's what I'd like to hear.
Yeah.
Let's go Cindy and then Hazel. Did you want to comment before I go to Cindy?
Let Cindy go, and then I have a question on the consumption rates.
Okay. There you go, Cindy.
Yeah, the one thing I hear all the time from residents on when it comes to utilities, it's not so much about the actual amount that they're paying. It's the fact that they're annoyed that sewer is 100% of water. They always complain about that. And no matter how much I tell them, the cost is the cost, and we have to divide it somehow among you, and whether we charge you, a higher rate per, charge you at 80%, but then the other, it's still all the same. But for some reason, that's really hard. And then I just got this complaint the other day. Why am I paying stormwater when I don't even have stormwater in my neighborhood, right? So, yeah, this is just me complaining on what I hear about residents, because I don't know the answer. But to me, I get that we're buying water from Shuck and there has to be a variable component to it. From a budget perspective, in my own household budget, anything that's the most standard that that it's month to month and it's the same, the better.
Yep.
And so when we're just picking out numbers out of the sky to get the numbers to match, it would just for me, I think sewer should just be you have a residential house, this is your rate. And it should all be fixed because so then you're not messing up. I get there's gonna be issues on the water side. It's a drought year, or it's a not drought year, but then that directly affects your sewer rates because we're basing it consumption and am I right? Does it mess? Cause then we have the same problem with on the sewer side that we do on the water, where if we had just said, this is how much it's gonna cost to run our sewer system and divided by the number of houses. I mean, obviously businesses have to be different and larger water users have to be different. I know especially Black Diamond has some weird things that we didn't have over in the Turner Valley side. But to me, I would have just loved to say sewer costs this much.
So then you're moving away from user pay. And I would suggest that we do have some businesses in town that are costing more for wastewater and increasing our chemical use, and they are high water consumers.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the average homeowner.
Yeah.
Joe that's mad that they're paying 100% when they're like, I know I use it on my lawn.
And you're absolutely correct. If we say, okay, let's do it for 80%, well, that's just gonna drive the rate up. And so there's no perfect way to do wastewater because there's no way to meter it.
No.
Well, I'm sure there is a way, but we're not undertaking that. So really, and many municipalities use different models, some of them even, and I'm not suggesting we go there, but they even change it in the summertime, right? Like, okay, I believe Okotoks says that's what they used to. Well, we'll do 80% in the summer, 100% in the winter, because most of the water in the winter is going into down your drain. It's not going into your lawn. So there's not an ideal way to do that, but I think having it based on your water consumption at least does put it closer to a user pay model.
But that does, if you have a low water use year because of a drought, you've now you've doubled your problem in our finances by having the sewer rate linked to the water rate.
Yeah,
Because your
right.
consumption isn't there.
Because your consumption's not there, so then our sewer, the amount we collect on sewer is lower, so we've now doubled financially the problem in this year.
Yes, it is consumption driven, but we're never gonna get to a point where there's 50,000 cubic meters of consumption. We're always, so right now, my prediction right now is around 165. I thought it was gonna be closer to 175 based on last year. And I don't think we'd be that far off if it hadn't rained all summer, because we still have people watering their lawns. That's just my thoughts on it.
So just so I have it in my notes, what is the full cost recovery once we hit that target for the consumption rate for both water and wastewater? What number did you say? Did you say 484?
As of right now,
Yeah.
490 for water
Okay.
and $4.92 for wastewater, although I really think that wastewater, we would have to increase that, unless I'm way off on my predictions for operating expenses for the lagoon next year.
And that would be the projection.
Probably
for 10
not.
years.
No, this would be the full cost rate today. If you guys were to say, hey. we're
Like,
gonna
we
charge-
clicked on it to dump it on
That's what I
everybody.
mean.
That's right.
We'd be at basically $5
We don't
each
see that.
consumption rate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
23 times 5,
Wow.
$10. $10 on your cubic meters.
Yeah.
Basically.
I'd be happy to give you motion for 8% for both. Deal with this next year once we have actuals. Or if you guys want to discuss another number.
No, that's why I wanted this chart, and I wanted to spread it on 10.
So what does
So we
8%
can see what
today?
it really looks like.
8%,
Makes us recover by 2029.
with the population increase.
With the
Yes,
population
yep.
increase by 2029. Without
There it
population increases by 3033.
So I'll get my calculator out.
Or 20.
8%.
Which is just complete reserves for the next 8 years.
7 calculated, but not 8 on my paper.
Well, let's go with 7. What, since you got it on your paper?
307 would be your water.
So 53 cents for water and 53 cents, because wastewater is the same this year, right? No, that's sorry, I'm looking at
So-
287 plus,
287 is current water.
So
7% is $3. And
so,
$3.07.
so a 20-cent increase for water. And what was your wastewater?
Wastewater for 7 goes from 302 to 323.
Yeah, I don't, if you've got those numbers already, I'm not against the 7% for this year.
But that's lower than the phased in for 20.
Because we've extended by 5 years.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's extending it to a 10-year,
20.
potentially
Yeah.
8-year with a population increase.
Yeah, I think we do need to extend it personally. It's such a challenging time, unfortunately.
And we don't have the actuals yet, Heather. With the new,
Well, we won't for a year.
well, I know, but that's why I say let's just go up by something.
No,
I don't want to go too high.
Here's your 7. Versus the 8.
And with a 4% population growth.
Yeah.
We would still hit it by 2030.
Or, yeah,
We would break
Take
even
it
at
back.
2029 and hit it at 2030.
So it's only 5 years.
Only 5 years.
From now,
That we break
with the
even.
population growth.
Yeah, with
So
the
we're still,
population
we're,
growth.
we're only 1 year out from our 5-year plan.
I think that's
Manageable.
I think that's sound judgment, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I would be more than happy to vote on 7.
It's not terribly shocking.
I
What
was
do you
gonna
say,
say
Cindy?
$45 even,
Yeah,
95.
that's what I would do.
I do like the 45.
Yeah.
So if you put that in, what does it show? Can you do it real quick?
Oh, I think.
Nickel, get your numbers.
Well, I guess like
That's like such a minor.
It's a minor percent. I know.
Yeah, it's like 3% negative.
That's a 0.0.
I wouldn't even notice it.
You wouldn't.
I'm like,
You know it's in the bank account, but not on the.
Exactly. I just wanna jot this down. If that's the
What's
direction.
the number right now, sorry?
It's 44.94, so if we add 6 cents, that's 3 cents a month for the base rate. Because it's bi-weekly, it's 44.94 for the majority of
I
residents.
just don't want people to think that we can, like, I don't want someone to look and be like, look, they increased the fixed rate too, and have sticker shock over 6 cents because they didn't look before.
I know, it's true. So if we just focus on variables right now, I'm good with that.
I would be
consumption.
happy with that, and then if you guys want to round it up
No,
for next year,
let's just focus on the 7%.
I say just do the 7, leave alone the fixed. I know the round number thing, but I just don't want users to be like, this number changed, and they don't know what the number was before, and they think that we jacked it up on them again. You know what I mean? Like, it's perspective.
Yeah, I don't. I,
No.
no, I actually have to agree because I end up arguing some really, like, yeah.
We all like.
Like someone would call,
Come on.
you have so many people calling or asking, look, they jacked up the fixed rate, and then you're gonna have to make a video, or Barry's gonna have to, or Adam's gonna answer the
3
phone.
cents.
And they're gonna say to everyone, it was only 6 cents, and they're gonna
For
go,
2
oh,
months.
well, don't I feel silly, but there's probably potentially a lot of people that might see that.
Change it back. Oh, it's
I
funny.
do have another question.
All right, thanks for listening.
That's too funny.
Just, in case I don't get voted and I want to throw this out there, a connection fee to start. I know we're talking
Oh, that's
about,
a good point.
I about future water license and other things. We don't currently charge a connection fee, from what I understand.
New development.
For new development.
Yeah, I think we charge the meter, our cost for the meter plus 20%.
Oh.
To help cover
Yeah.
all those admin and
Okay.
operating expenses.
So I was talking to Harry yesterday after Shrek about water license and having money to buy it and developers buying it versus us buying it. And he's obviously, you can't put water license purchases in your offsite levies. It's not allowed. So you have, the best way to recover it is either make them bring it or we charge a connection fee. And we have currently, as Gary would say, more houses than we have water for, like more planning files that we're gonna exceed our license capacity. So, I don't know if we wanna wait to get the report back, or since we have our utility rate bylaw in front of us, that we wanna consider that. He threw out that they have it, it's a $5,000 connection fee per house. For new houses, in some of their areas, that's a common.
The fees.
That's where it should go. And that money gets earmarked for water license purchase.
Ideas. And so it's coming back.
So I want to be more proactive. I know that I have a report, that's my notice of motion, I want to see that. But
Is that something you want brought back in the rates and fees bylaws coming next?
Yeah.
So
But at the same time, it's like, yes, there's gonna be a report and it's gonna get refined in how we do it with charging, and maybe developers can get a credit if they do bring license. But I don't think it's ever too early to start putting money into reserves for. things like that.
Yeah.
Not part of tonight's motion, though.
No, it's not, but I just wanted to like,
Vocalize it.
just put it out there on the table so admin can start thinking about it.
I have put up on the screen the wastewater. Let's see, with 7%. This one looks a little different because we have a large capital project, 24, 25. We have debt as well. So if I just put up operating expenses, we also, whoops, sorry, I double clicked. We also have debt to pay for wastewater. So that's what that lighter blue line is for. If I put up our variable with the 7%, this is what it looks like. So we don't get there with 7%, even without the increase I suspect we'll see. So, I mean, I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if you want to change one.
That one's the 18%, right?
Yes.
As presented in the
Yeah.
package, yeah, that's the numbers.
Yeah, you could, I mean, we could change that, like, let's put it 9. Not 900, that would be terrible.
What is that big line?
Our reserves.
That's your cash, that's your cash position. So if you put in a 9, oops, I need current debt.
So does that account for the 4% increase?
Yes.
Oh,
Population.
the population, just one that's just,
I'm not,
because I'd like to see that before you go to 9.
it does not let me
Okay.
change that.
That will make me happy, thank you.
Wait for the change here.
I
think it's realistic.
Let's watch Barry actually be right on something.
Honestly, we're smart ones.
Street allowed, 200 people.
You want it back at 8%?
Please.
Percent.
7, excuse me,
7,
Lisa,
sorry,
yes,
yeah.
7, same number. We do 7 for both.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Oh, reserves started going the right way.
Oh, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm. So here's our operating, I'll put in I'll put in the debt. Variable, thank you for catching that. Yeah, the 4%, that's with the 4% population increase.
So a couple of years later, that's 2032. So it's 2 years behind the usage.
Yeah.
Wastewater is 2 years behind, but that gives us time to look at actuals. This one is far more unpredictable because we don't know what our costs are gonna be.
Well, and create revenues.
And it also, in my opinion, gives us time for the correct asset management plan to know exactly, are we on target with that fixed rate? And if we are, great. So a question I do have for you, going back to our package here. You have the water consumption rate at 307 at a 7% increase. What is that based on 25 meters cubed on average?
No, that increase is just per meter.
No, I understand.
Okay.
But in the calculation to come up with $82 where you have it currently at 326, how much is that?
25 feet.
25
Yeah.
times K. I'm just doing some calculations.
Yes.
And that's the average for, it's pretty close. Like my family is close to that.
Yes, me too. So I think for an average family of four, it would be pretty close.
Very has a question members.
Carrie. Adjourn? Almost there.
Sorry,
Okay.
and I don't want to speak out of turn, but given the timeliness of the information in the MDP. So under the demographics and growth projection in the MDP cohort model, it was slightly less than a 2% growth.
Yes, which is where I pulled the 1% from because Shelley had sent me that model. So
That's just.
I just don't want you to be basing
thank you.
your assumptions on overly optimistic assumptions.
Yeah.
Totally. I'd base it more on construction than back there. 200 people just on Regent Street alone.
Let's,
40 units.
yeah, but let's, again,
15.
Anyways,
the basics is.
Yeah.
We need to increase.
Yep.
This is a great middle ground for us. Even if the data is a little bit off, we're still at worst case 2033. Worst case, that's on the 2% that Lisa had.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're still in the 10-year.
that's not the worst case.
That's on worst case.
It's
So
better.
I'm just reminding everyone, that's worst case. We're looking at an optimistic, and I appreciate Carrie's point. We're looking at an optimistic point of view. That will be for future council. We're trying to find the best middle ground solution for today to make sure that tomorrow it's not a 26% increase because we failed to do nothing tonight. So 7 is, I think, again, 7 is a great starting point. Let's wait for the actuals next year, and then we can make more informed decisions.
Can you make a motion and we'll go to Jonathan?
Yes. Vernon, can you make, no. To,
Water consumption and wastewater consumption.
yeah, to direct administration to increase the variable rate for water usage and wastewater by 7%, to be reflected in the 2026 budget, or just the
Rates and fees bylaw.
rates and fees bylaw.
So that's
Before we lock that down.
Yeah, let's still talk about it.
Are we gonna lock it into a year projection? Are we gonna say over a 10-year? Or are we just gonna say this year and then we'll be?
What's gonna change?
Every year we have to.
I would recommend doing it every year
Yeah.
with actuals because there's so many changing dynamics with this.
Yeah.
I would recommend
That's why
doing
I'm
it every
asking.
year.
because it's clear.
And council can direct definitely a timeline, and I'd like to continue using the software to show us. And I just want to make it clear even right now that in 26, if you look at wastewater with the 7%, we won't be putting anything into reserves.
No.
And I expect my operating expense increase to not be enough, what I put in here. So just to be clear, we will not have money in reserves for wastewater next year. But yeah, I would recommend doing it every year, and I would recommend having a timeline. How do we want this to look? And then adjusting it within that time parameter.
Just before
Go
I,
ahead.
can I just get that, just so that I can, because I'm gonna make posts on this.
I have the numbers.
I just, yeah, I was, okay,
That's what I was
okay,
gonna talk about.
okay, I'll listen to that.
So-
Until the bylaw comes forward.
Yeah, as a proposed. So based on these numbers of increasing our water consumption rate and our wastewater consumption rate, increasing each by 7%, the actuals is that based on the 25 meter cubed usage bi-monthly, the water increases from its current amount of 71.75 to 76.75. And our wastewater increases from 75.50 to 81.25. And if you calculate that with the fixed rates that are currently on file, we're looking at $5.38 per month increase. So it's very nominal at this current time.
Can you give me the $5.38?
Yeah,
That was
$5.38.
usage and
That's per month. That's the increase.
is that combined?
That's my
That's the
medium
overall.
regular with my bagel.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
So
can
you-
afford 2 Timmys.
Yeah, based on the average usage,
of 25 meters cubed
the increase
per month,
combining wastewater and usage would be $5.38
per month.
per month.
Okay, motion on the floor,
Okay.
7 and 7,
Pretty interesting.
correct?
May I ask
10%.
something?
Absolutely, go ahead, Hazel.
So just for clarification, the fixed water charge and the fixed
25. And this year.
wastewater charge will remain the same?
On each one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So the water consumption rate, is you're gonna raise it to 7% instead of the 14%?
Correct.
7 and 7.
7 instead of 14, 7 instead of 18. It's very, very.
Cindy's got thoughts on that.
I think it's too long, because
Okay.
then I've
I
just
think
been
it's
here
too low.
too many years where
No reserves.
there's no reserves.
Yeah, I agree.
That's,
Do you want to throw something else in? here?
I
Like,
think we just
I don't think we can count.
friendly amend to up it.
Yes.
10 and 10. 10 and 10, Hazel? Hazel?
We're not changing the fixed rate, we're only changing the
Very
variable portion of it.
mhm.
I'm just thinking of my own, like my electricity and gas, how much it's
Mhm.
gone over the last, like they've doubled in the last
well, they go
5
crazy.
years, right?
I'm good with getting a little bite into reserves, like,
So this is putting it up 10%.
let's go 10, let's see what you got.
This is wastewater.
Still in reserves goes with it, right? Cindy.
It's your variable, we add fixed. And let's just look at our cash position. It's
Yeah.
And it's still a reduction from what we had proposed for a 5-year. So it's still a win from a community perspective, but it definitely is helping us get that a little tiny bit ahead. And we're talking, like you guys just said, at Timmy's and a bagel a month is all I gotta shave from my budget. Go ahead, Hazel.
I would rather see us just stay at the proposed rate of 14% and 19% and start being able to put a little bit of money into the reserves. As opposed to dropping it in half.
Okay, we presently have a motion for 7 and 7. So,
Last year I was sitting here arguing about how much I hated how steep those increases were.
yeah,
But then now knowing that we're not putting into reserve, please don't win.
Well, we potentially have 300 this year. We don't with the increase in the wastewater. That's a challenge. We don't know what those wastewater rates are.
and water, so I've taken the 300 out of water too for next year
Yeah.
with these scenarios. Yeah, just to give you an idea of what your revenue looks like without a transfer.
So
I don't, sorry.
I was gonna say that to counteract the rates here, we don't know what the true, like, what the wastewater rates will be.
Yep.
And the second point that I wanna make is it's a great target to have $700,000 to $900,000 in reserves. But until we have the asset management plan totally identified, what happens if we're missing 400 grand and we actually need 1.4? So then we're looking at that increase. Or on the flip side is, wow, we've got, the assets aren't as in the deficit that we thought they were on these utility rates, on these utility side, and then we can bring it back down or we can balance it then. I don't know, there's a couple of missing pieces here yet that lead me to hesitate going for the massive increase.
Can I publicly say the email that you sent to me on the water leak rates?
Yeah, I think that's good public information.
like, we are leaking 40% of our water.
I know it's brutal.
Yeah.
Like, I would also like to see our water meters definitely fixed on that. We have the difference between us and Didsbury, using them as comparison, we have $80 million in capital assets sitting on our account. They have 60. We automatically 25% higher every year that we should be spending, and we should be putting money in reserves. We should be spending it on replacing
Exactly.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
To the tune of, well over 3 million a year, and we only get half of that from the province. So.
Mm.
Yeah,
There's so many hands just going up.
yeah.
Go Adam, then Lisa.
Thanks, your worship. I guess from administration's perspective, anything is better than nothing. Okay, we're talking about that gap. Keep in mind, pre-COVID, pre-amalgamation, the gap was around $80 million. So when the infrastructure master plan comes out, we know it's going to be north of 100 million. We know right now our deferred maintenance is probably 2 to 4 million a year. Right? We pretty solid idea on that. So I would venture that the numbers that are put forth will not be enough regardless, right? So we're always going to be playing catch up, and that's where triage will happen with the IMP to say, well, we have a massive leakage rate. What would that take to fix? 20 years. Probably, right? Because you fix one line and then the next line breaks, right? And it's just one after the other. So I guess, I understand the semantics of it, but I would just advise any number that starts pushing in that right direction is a step in the right direction. And whatever that number is, it's not going to be enough. So that's where you sort of have that balance. The certainty, even with the IMP, I mean, it's a revolving target, right? Because the cost of everything's going up. It's about to say it's going down, but no, it'll go up, then it'll go up. Before you know it, your lagoon project's gone significantly up. The IMP will be fixed at probably 2025-ish rates. You try to build a 10-year plan out from there. You basically have to update it every few years. So that's the trickiness, right? It's like buying a house in 2020 versus 2025, 2030. Hard to forecast. Very hard to forecast. So that's all. So I just think it's great discussion. I obviously would like to see those numbers go higher, but I can appreciate that council has some decisions to play with there.
Okay, so motion on the floor, we're gonna get this moving because we still got 7 more items. Friendly amendment, Brendan. Which number are you willing to propose? We have a 10 and a 10, we have a 14 and an 18 to keep it where it was.
I would do, I'd be 10 and 12. I'd go 10 usage, 12 waste.
Okay,
And water,
Yes, water.
Hazel, good?
No,
She wants.
I would rather go with what is being proposed.
You guys can defeat my motion and then make a new one if you want.
Yep, it can be defeated if it has to.
So the friendly, well, I mean, I guess it's
Well, 10 and
changing
12.
my own, right?
I'm just gonna go right down the line here. Jonathan, is 10 and 12 acceptable to you for a friendly?
Yeah, there's too many variables to not do that as much as we need to know. I mean,
Adam's
there's
right.
just too many variables right now.
Cindy? 10, 12,
Back to me last.
okay, come back to me last.
I'm kind of with Hazel. Right from the get-go when the conversation started, that's, it was presented to the public last year. I don't know, like.
Push back.
Get pushed back no matter what.
I gotta-
That's the whole thing they went through last year.
Yep.
They did the 5-year proposal.
Go, Lisa.
And may I just remind you that 14 and 18.5 is using 2024 numbers. It should be higher than that. If we were to stick to a 5-year plan, it should be higher. So if council's direction next year is to still get there by 2028, that jump's going to be even bigger, because I was going off the plan that this council had proposed, because I know there's an election coming up, and a new council may direct for a different timeline.
Well,
But I just want to remind you that even the 14 and 18.5
is not, it's not where we need to be.
For you.
With Hazel and Heather. Yeah, as much as I wanna bring it down for the residents, and my wife gave me crap when she looked at the water bill too, but even if our actuals are off, whatever, at the end of the day, we have to get a reserve built. We have to start somewhere. We did propose it. Heather's right. That's why she hasn't said a word, because we had the debate last year and said 5 years, and we locked in and said, we're gonna make this hard call. And we gotta make a hard call. You know what? I'd sooner go into that election saying, we're making hard calls, so don't step up if you're not willing to make them. Because there's no easy ones. So I'm with them. I'm with Hazel and
Okay, call on mine and then make a motion.
all in favor? All opposed? So it's defeated.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we stick with the 5-year agreed raise of 14 and 18. Is that it, Hazel? You wanna make it?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
that the council directs administration to incorporate the water and wastewater fees as presented into the rates and fee bylaw at 14 and 18.5% increase.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to comment?
No, that's.
Hazel, did you want to comment?
No, I'm good.
Council, comment? All in favor? All opposed? Motion is carried. 4-2, put that in the record. Thank you. I thank you guys for the debate. And my heart wants to go there, wanted to go there, but Hazel and Heather kind of made a good point to me. I think we just gotta make those hard calls. So that was a good debate. Thank you. Are we seriously on that 7.3? Okay, 7.3. Let's go into our budget assumption guidelines, only about 80 pages deep.
This is the
This was an easy one.
Okay.
It was very well put together.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
accepted information.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Seriously, I'll give you that motion.
Okay.
And
okay.
do we need to?
Want to say?
Well, I'm gonna have Adam maybe hit a couple highlights, just very well.
Thank you, Your Worship. I mean, it's the same tone. I mean, what we're trying to show here is, again, for public consumption is part of that, to say that even though it's an election year, administration is still putting together the budget with some of those key assumptions. We know costs are going up. But we know capital for next year is likely going to be a lot of carryover. It's like it's been mentioned by council several times. The big thing we're building is that infrastructure master plan. So in a nutshell, I don't know if you have anything else to add, Lisa, but that's.
Unless there's any questions on how it was presented, or sorry, what was presented in the agenda package.
I will say something.
Go ahead, Cindy.
I don't think people appreciate the complexity of our town. And how spread out, yes, we are two towns, but we are not a prairie town built all in blocks, all in grids with one lift station. And I don't think we can go into election without hammering that home more to residents, that we are dealing with a very different financial environment. The decisions that we make are tougher. We've had the flood that wiped out things and we've benefited, on some things, but we have other risks in other areas, and the water treatment plant, we do need the growth. The small town feel, I lived in High River at 12,000. I thought it felt like a small town, right? We just gotta be real with people that we need more users on our very expensive system. And that will help us out. So, I don't know, it's just, we have a very unique town. And people love it because of that, because of how spread out it is, but it comes with a cost.
Well said.
Yeah.
To just say, Your Worship, for timeline, new council will see this in their second meeting, November 19th.
Thank you.
That's
Yep.
the draft.
Exactly what I was gonna say is this is the next council's job to really dig into this one. So good to have it out now. So anybody who's thinking of running can be reading up on it and getting their feet wet. So. All right, motion by Councillor Gordon to accept for information at this time. All in favor?
Mhm.
Thank you. FRIAA grant submission. That's a big acronym.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. It's the Forest Resource Improvement Association of Alberta. So our fire rescue department wants to, or is requesting council support to apply for a grant submission to start the Fire Smart process of the town. I think this is a outstanding initiative to take, and now with increasing wildfires, this is something I'm strongly supporting.
It'd be a motion.
They do.
The council recognizes the important and need for a comprehensive wildfire mitigation strategy and supports making a grant application to the Forest Resource Improvement Association of Alberta, which, if successful, would facilitate the development of a robust and effective plan for the town of Diamond Valley. No further comment. Good job. Love seeing grants.
Yes.
Yeah.
More grants.
Bring it here for, or grant here for Cindy. Comment from Cindy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, well, because since we have Carrie here, to me, there is a very big overlap between Fire Smart and planning. I don't know if any towns do go to the, like the saying, fireproof materials on housing and new development and such. But before we get to land use bylaw stage, will we get some benefit from, if we got this grant and do some things to get a plan for future development that would help? Or is that something you guys are contemplating? Because I feel like
Architectural control.
we should.
Carrie?
Yeah, I have a very, very long list of plans and policies I was hoping to get to this year, and then stuff happened. Dark Sky, Fire Smart, two of the things that kind of play nice together. They're waiting.
Yeah, I will say, your worship, this is, at least from a practical, tactical perspective, like at least this starts the process for the town really to even identify those non-built up areas where we could apply some correction to for that. So to get there, but realistically, I don't see that in the next few years for that level. Just coming from my previous community, yeah, it was 5 to 7 years from here to actually clearing and fire smarting a lot of areas. It's a fairly drawn out process.
But building materials can be improved through
Land use bylaw.
architectural as well, right? So- And Hardy Board is great.
And sorry, I should say 5 to 7, like till completion, right? I think once the grant's done, those areas are identified.
All right, motion on the floor, all in favor? You, Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation, Heather?
I can move this forward because both Cindy and I were involved in this. That council authorized the dissolution of the Waterworks Advisory Committee and direct the Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation Administration to submit a letter to Alberta Environment and Parks to request formal dissolution of the committee. The Waterworks Committee themselves have been struggling because they haven't had any work to do. And we don't have any work for them to do. So I don't know what else to add to that, really. It was Waterworks Advisory Committee was we were made to form the committee by the environmental board when we went through the appeal process. And it's been proven over the course of the years that our water's pretty good, like through the testing, and we haven't had any big things come to light. So they all agreed that this could be something that we could move forward with. And then the second part is that we could take one of the committee members and they could become a member at large. And so they still have that knowledge about, so we maintain that knowledge if we can. So anyway, that's my motion. Jim can add to it. If you want.
Yeah, I can add that, especially for the second part, in that we do have some people that have been really dedicated to the waters in our town and have been here since the beginning, so just to not lose some institutional knowledge if they do choose to carry on. We don't know who will, but there are some people that have been with it since, the early, like 2013s or 14s or whenever that came out.
2009.
Oh, 2009, is that when it started? Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. I'll give the next one. The council authorize the addition of members at large to the Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation in a voting or non-voting capacity. And to speak to that, I believe Shrub Board is going to discuss what that looks like and the numbers to it. But as you see in the package above, Councillor Alger carried the motion that Heather just put forward and Castell proposed, and one I just put forward. So those both carried, they will go forward to the Shrub Board for discussion. So we want to follow suit, get that conversation rolling.
And one more thing while we're on Shrub is that at our meeting yesterday, I did put forward a motion for administration to pursue further reductions in testing and engineering fees, because we have had clear reports and we are still paying an arm and a leg for one engineering firm to check another engineering firm's work.
Yeah.
Basically, so we take the water samples, it gets tested, we read it, one engineering firm reads it, another engineering firm reads it, and then confirms it, and they're testing a bunch of places that don't even have any really readings, but we're paying for it, so they're gonna look at that coming forward, so in case somebody else is on Shrek, I wanted that. Like, we need to keep on that to reduce our costs.
Cool. Yeah. All in favor? And that is carried. Diamond Valley Foothills Fire. Yeah,
Next motion.
no, I just did it.
Oh, we didn't vote on hers first.
Yeah, we
We
did.
just voted on hers first.
No, we voted on it first because then I proposed the second one.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
no.
Yeah, we're good.
It's good that time, don't worry.
Yeah, no.
7-6 Diamond Valley Foothills County Shared Services Agreement. It's the one we talked about at the IMC.
Yeah, great, we're happy
Good
to see all that, yeah, for sure, well done, you guys.
There's a couple spelling errors
Yeah, I
in the
noticed that.
amendments that we made at the last minute. They weren't done carefully.
Yeah,
But
do you want that list of it? There's also
they can make clerical changes, so
there's,
I can let you know what they are.
okay, I can do
Because
that.
they would have passed, might not have caught it and passed it as is.
County signed their copies already.
Pardon?
The county signed their copies today.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a couple of key areas, not just typo, like section 3.3. On page 7 of Schedule A, under future. Section 3 deals with 911 and dispatch. But what they added in 3.3 deals with schools. It doesn't look like it belongs there. So that's on Schedule 7 or page 7 of Schedule A. Who's pulling up there?
We just forward those amendments.
Yeah, right there. So section 3 dealing with 911 and dispatch. And then the future of that deals with educational services and not emergency services. So I think that's an error. And then there's a few different types of typos. And then section 5.9 in the actual agreement, we're talking about 911 and dispatch. I just was wondering why the term regarding, there's reference made to Fresque. So if you scroll back up, Myrna, to section 5.9 in the actual document, not in the schedules. I'm just wondering why there's reference to the manner and how they reference Fresque, that they said they both contribute to Fresque, where later on, where there's commissions, they talk about partners in it. And I wonder if properly delineated, because each of the members those members that are part of FRESC have certain benefits being members of FRESC and not just contributing to FRESC. I wonder, I don't know if it's a semantic. Because if you look at FRESC's bylaws, we're a constituent municipality, which gives us specific voting rights rather than just a contributing municipality. I'm just wondering if that should be noted better.
So, yeah, I think so, your worship, noted on all of it, so. Yeah, so obviously I think there's some errors here. So these are the copies verbatim that the county signed off on today, so if we make the amendments, they're gonna have to go back to another meeting.
Okay.
Which again, that's what council wants, it's fine. I just don't know if they're meeting next week.
It's hard to know who's shutting off now for the
It should,
season.
well, it shouldn't have an effect.
We could, I'm just wondering if maybe it's,
it could be a semantic, but I'm just kind of wondering.
we make a motion with
To
minor.
clear this up, I think all we do is they've signed, we can sign, we can point out a few amendments because a new council, right?
Yeah.
Sign this.
Yeah. Bang on your worship, we could,
So we sign it, then we point out a few flaws, and that can come back as amendment to the new council. Say, this was freshly signed, here's a few changes, have a review. Then away you go.
so, yeah, thanks, your worship, so what I would suggest is. To prove as is, we get it in by the ministry. With the errors, we don't mind just. Sending them to us in an email, what we can do then is go through it. Pass it back to the county and then. The new councils can approve those amended agreements.
So clerical errors, you guys can fix, so can you not? It doesn't have to come back to council to see a period or an S or.
Yeah,
something.
like it's,
Right, so,
As long as the content is.
yeah, it's a content, so they'll then,
I might be hearing though, there's more though.
yeah.
Yeah,
That subsection's wrong. That's more than.
Well, subsection not being legal correct number, like number.
Well, it seems to me like there might be something missing.
Yeah,
Because the heading should be education. So it's almost like there's a whole section missing there in that schedule. That's what I kind of read it
That's a
as.
concern.
And so with your worship, so again, the IMC is supposed to meet November, the new
Oh, okay,
IMC.
New one, yeah.
So we sat over there.
Yeah, what I'd suggest is just sign or council ought to approve as is. Perhaps send those omissions or potential omissions in writing, so the other CIO and I can look at them. And then I think we bring it to the next IMC. Cause I think the intent is there. And these are living documents, so just like the MDP, I would think that actually we would make a few tweaks to these. Well, we should. Certainly should.
All right, makes sense to me. So we can have it back to IMC easy enough for the.
I'm just starting an email. I'll get it down there.
All in favor?
Just, sorry, sir.
Wait.
Counselor Martin has her hand up.
Go ahead, Hazel.
Just a comment. I don't think it's anything too outstanding or anything like that, but on page 13 of their master shared service agreement report under 10.2 current status for the West Winds communities, it's listed as Turner Valley and Black Diamond and not Diamond Valley. So it's on page 237 of the agenda package.
Just send that through to Adam and in the email, Hazel.
To Adam.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. That's right, yeah, Councillor Martin, we're, I think there's actually quite a few checks here. Our challenge is, since the county's already signed, we'll capture these errors after. So if you catch any, just please send it into an email for me and we'll correct them with the next IMC meeting in November.
Nope, that sounds good. Thank you.
So no. It's funny how your brain reads things, right?
It's actually pretty important.
That's a big one.
Is the transfer station in Diamond Valley land?
So black.
It's
Is it on, is it on island? Is it on county land? Yeah,
County.
so it's.
Okay. Good, thanks Hazel. Can I call
You
a
are
vote now?
welcome. Sure.
Right, all in favor? That is carried, thank you. Proclamation. No, we got,
There'll be a few.
I thought I had my last one done. I just got to pull it. It's just here.
Motion that council proclaims the week of
Yes.
September 24th to 27th, 2025 is Alberta Development Officers Week in the town of Diamond Valley.
All in favor? Thank you. Whereas the development officer, the current planning and development specialist with knowledge in current legislation, policy, bylaws, systems, and technical requirements for physical development within communities in the province of Alberta. A development officer enforces and administers land use regulations and policies on behalf of the municipality and is designated to the position of development authority by the municipality as defined by the Municipal Government Act RSA 2000 Chapter M26. And whereas the Alberta Development Officers Association representing professional development officers in Alberta endorses Alberta Development Officers Week of recognize sound development and planning practices and the contributions made by development officers to qualify to the quality of development within our communities and the environment. And whereas Alberta Development Officers Week helps us to publicly recognize the work of our municipal colleagues in planning and development for the improvement of the town of Diamond Valley. And whereas we recognize development officers and their commitment to public service. Now therefore, I, Mayor Barry Crane, do hereby proclaim the week of September 24th to 27th, 2025 to be designated as Alberta Development Officer Week in the town of Diamond Valley, proclaiming the 17th day of September 2025. Thank you very much. And please post that on our electronic signboard. That's right.
We go to conference? No, it's doing that.
And are we all done now? Can we say adjourned?
You're the boss.
Thank goodness.
For a little while.
Adjourned.
Yes, if we ever.
Good night. Thank you, staff, for sticking around.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Good night, everyone.